Chapter 649. Mu Tongxue lowered her head and stayed silent for 2 seconds. When she raised her head again, her eyes were red. It seemed that Yi Jingqing had really hurt her. "I'm leaving." After that, Mu Tongxue stood up. But before she disappeared, Mu Qiqi grabbed her and said, "I'm happy to see you fight with Yi Jingqing. But you should at least keep your life, right? Although you killed Mommy, she loved you the most when she was still alive. Don't let the Yi family inform me to collect the body. I'm telling you I won't go." Mu Tongxue did not say anything. She just quickened her pace. No matter how ruthless Mu Qiqi was, she still had some pity for her. However, Mu Tongxue did not care about anything else. She just wanted to use the most vicious method to let Yi Jingqing taste the pain. In the afternoon, it was only then that the two sworn enemies of the Sheng family had truly completed their divorce procedures and officially dissolved their relationship as husband and wife. "Third brother, I hope we can still be friends when we meet again." Hu Ran stretched out her hand, wanting to shake Sheng Bowen's hand. But Sheng Bowen forced a smile and said, "Of course the chauffeur is here. I won't send you off. I still have something urgent to deal with in Huangyao. Good luck." Hu Ran knew that she had nothing to do with Sheng Bowen now. It would be hypocritical if she said that. So when Sheng Bowen turned around, she went back to the Hu family and asked the servants to take her luggage that she had packed yesterday. There were no vows, no etiquette, no blessings, and no love in this marriage. It started too fast and it ended too fast. "You, third young master, is a decent man. Why did you insist on getting a divorce?" Papa, who could not understand his daughter. Why did she give up such a good man and give him to someone else? "Don't blame me for not reminding you if someone else snatches him away in the future." Hu Ran did not say anything. She went back to her room. Now that she was a divorced woman, she did not know if her impression of her husband would be affected because of this. Perhaps, no one would believe that she still kept her first time after getting married. On the other hand, Sheng Bowen went straight back to Huangyao after the divorce. That was because Sheng Kai seemed to be up to something in the past few days. He was thinking of a way to deal with the Huangyao shares in his hands. As far as he knew, the sellers that Sheng Kai was interested in were not good people. They were all ambitious wolves. Although he was prepared for that, he still felt terrible when Sheng Kai betrayed the Sheng family. He had not told Grandpa Sheng about this. After all, the old man had just been discharged from the hospital. He did not want to agitate him again and send him to the hospital again. Now the situation had changed. He was in the light, while Sheng Kai and Gu Xiling were in the dark. He did not know what kind of storm these two would stir up with the support of Gu Xiling's grandfather. In fact, Hu Ran had made the right choice to leave. He really did not have Sheng Zhao's confidence in stabilizing the Sheng family. He simply did not know where else he could go. And Sheng Kai was such a sinister and ruthless person. After returning to the company, the secretary quickly went up to Sheng Bowen and said, "CEO, there's a guest. He brought an entire team of lawyers with him. It looks like he's here to cause trouble." "Where is he?" "He's in the VIP lounge." "I know. Come with me." Sheng Bowen looked in the direction of the VIP lounge. He was really in a bad mood today. Another big financial group wanted to take over Sheng Kai's shares. In the evening, it started to rain in Jianchuan. Feng Shanshan and Mu Qiqi came out of the laboratory. When they were about to go home, they saw Tang Yin coming back with injuries. His face was bruised and his forehead was red and swollen. It seemed that he had suffered a lot of external injuries. Fortunately, they were just external injuries. The first thing he said when he entered the police station was to Feng Shanshan and Mu Qiqi, "You two don't leave yet. Come with me." The two of them looked at each other and followed him into the police station. Then, all the people in the criminal investigation team were called over. "I already know about what happened to Dai Shi. The anonymous letter was written by someone in our station. Who asked you to mess around?" Tang Yin questioned everyone present. "If it happens again, my team will not tolerate such a vengeful person. You must know your place. You are different from him." Feng Shanshan did not expect that after working hard all night, she would get such an attitude. After hearing Tang Yan's words, Mu Qiqi looked at Feng Shanshan worriedly. Obviously, Feng Shanshan's eyes were red and tears were rolling down her cheeks. "You should have died on the front line. That's all." Dismissed. After saying that, Tang Yin did not look at Feng Shanshan. Instead, he went straight to the forensics laboratory to look for the professor. Feng Shanshan and Mu Qiqi also left the police station together. Men are all big pig trotters. After listening to Tang Yan's retelling, the professor laughed. So this anonymous letter was written by these two children. It was because you were threatened. Why didn't you stop them? How would I know that there are so many stories behind it? The professor shrugged helplessly. But you were angry in the office just now. We all heard it. Didn't you go too far? How can I learn from it if I go too far? After saying that, Tang Yin left the laboratory and drove home. He knew that it would hurt Feng Shanshan's heart. But what kind of identity was Daishi's uncle? He was the director of the bureau. Did he think that an anonymous letter could bring him down? Even if they had such a great influence, these people's backgrounds were often complicated and restrained each other. If someone found out that it was Feng Shanshan who did it, would the people on Chief Chen's ship let her go? Mu Qiqi did not care because she had Sheng Xiao. But what did she have? She was so fearless. She did not know how much trouble she had gotten into. What if her enemies came to take revenge? Thinking of this, Tang Yin sped up and went home. But when he entered the living room, he did not see Feng Shanshan. Feng Shanshan took the blanket out and hinted to Tang Yin that he would sleep in the living room while she locked herself in the room. Lying on the bed, she felt very wronged. Men were rational, and women were emotional. This sentence was not wrong to use on the two of them. Of course, Tang Yin was not good at explaining. Whether Feng Shanshan could understand his painstaking efforts or not, he would still do his best to protect her. For example, it was raining tonight. It was really a good weather for revenge. Chapter 650. Not long after nightfall in Yi Mansion, the bodyguard had told Yi Jingqing about Mu Tongshua's schedule, including her visit to the police station to look for Mu Qiqi. Yi Jingqing did not know that Mu Qiqi and Sheng Xiao had intervened in Mr. Lu's matter. He also did not know that Mu Qiqi had told Mu Tongxue about Mr. Lu's situation. He thought that Mu Tongxue went to Mu Qiqi to show off. If that was the case, he would be happy to see it happen. Are you feeling better after going out for some fresh air today? Mu Tongxue turned around and looked at Yi Jingqing. She nodded. Much better. Tongxue, you know that I only want you to be happy. I know. Mu Tongxue sighed helplessly. I really didn't expect your feelings for me to be so deep. Jingqing, I'm not worth it. You are worth it. I only want to give you the best, even if you want the moon in the sky. Actually, I've thought it through. Seeing Mu Qiqi living such a good life, I don't want to live a poor life either. After all, I'm from the Mu family. I'm the daughter of a rich family. How can I chase after a poor teacher? I promised to be with you, but I'm living in your house without a proper reason, and your parents don't like me. I feel very sad. After hearing Mu Tongshue's words, Yi Jingqing was overjoyed. He squatted in front of Mu Tongxue. Is what you said true? Of course it's true. Mu Tongxue nodded. Then I'll tell my parents now that I want to get engaged to you. Then, you will have a proper reason. Yi Jingqing was too excited. What if your parents don't agree? It's useless. I must be with you. Wait for me. Having said that, Yi Jingqing left Mu Tongshue's room in a hurry and went to his parents' bedroom. Then, he officially mentioned that he wanted to get engaged to Mu Tongxue. However, Mama Yi went crazy. Are you crazy? You brought her home. Your father and I don't care about you anymore. And you still want to get engaged to that little slut? Is there something wrong with your brain? Yi Jingqing, 2 days ago, she was so desperate for that teacher. Now, she is willing to marry you. Have you ever thought about why? Because she understood that I'm still the best for her. Who knows what that little B***tch is up to? Don't even think about it. It's impossible for her to like you. Yi Jingqing, I'm warning you too. If you insist on getting engaged to that little B***tch, it's not impossible. Just get out of the Yi family and stop being our son. Then, there will be no more obstacles. Yi Jingqing looked at Yi Jingqing. Mama Ye's words were very decisive. She did not show any mercy, but did Yi Jingqing care? He did not care at all. I'm just informing you. Mu Tongxue is mine. Mu Tongxue was upstairs and heard the mother and son quarreling. Of course, This was just the beginning of Yi Jingqing losing everything. Didn't he think that he could do whatever he wanted? When he had nothing left, he would know what it felt like to be trampled by others. In the middle of the night, Tang Yin put his hands behind his head and closed his eyes to rest. However, when the clock struck 12, he opened his eyes in the dark. Under the dim light, the sound of someone picking the lock was very obvious. Then the person gently pushed the door open. But just as he took one step into the living room, Tang Yin quickly grabbed the person's clothes and heard the sound of something smashing in the living room. When Feng Shanshan heard that, she quickly got up and went to the living room. But when she turned on the chandelier in the living room, what she saw was Tang Yin pressing two men to the ground. "Call the police immediately." Feng Shanshan immediately went back to the bedroom to get her phone. Then she called the police in the area. "What's going on? What do you think?" Tang Yin asked her with his bare upper body. "Your anonymous letter has damaged the interests of many people. It's very common for people to come to you for revenge." Feng Shanshan suddenly understood the reason why Tang Yin was angry today. He must have been familiar with these tricks, and had already guessed that someone would come to find trouble with her tonight. "Even so, I don't regret what I did." "Are you out of your mind?" "I'm out of my mind," Feng Shanshan shouted. "Are you my father? Do I need you to tell me what I do? If it's just for me, it's not worth it. I don't need you to teach me what to do." After saying that, Feng Shanshan turned around and went back to her room. She knew what she was doing. That was enough. The two orphans had nothing to begin with. She didn't care what she had to sacrifice. Tang Yin sent them to the police station. Of course, these two people directly admitted that they had broken into the house and robbed. It had nothing to do with killing them. Then Tang Yin drove home alone. Sometimes, he really didn't understand if it was because of the uncontrollable factor in Feng Shanshan that made him fall in love with her. When he reached home, he opened the bedroom door with the key and quietly lay down beside Feng Shanshan. Feng Shanshan wasn't asleep. When she felt the man lying down, she couldn't help but move her body away. However, as she moved, Tang Yin moved too. In the end, she really couldn't move, so she got up and said, "Sleep by yourself." Tang Yin didn't say anything. He reached out and carried her over. "Can't you be more obedient? I have my own persistence. I haven't slept for 2 days." After hearing Tang Yan's words, Feng Shanshan finally calmed down. She let him hug her and gradually fell asleep. The next day, Mu Qiqi was still lying on the bed when she heard Sheng Xiao say to her, "Third brother is divorced." Mu Qiqi wasn't fully awake yet. It took her a while to wake up and sit up. "What did you just say?" "Third brother is divorced," Sheng Xiao repeated to Mu Qiqi as he put on his coat. "What happened yesterday? Hu Ran has moved back to the Hu family. It seems that there's really no spark between them. Actually, this is good. Third brother still has other choices. He just hasn't met a woman who can make him crazy. I thought you would carry on your matchmaking spirit and help the two of them get back together. There's no love between them. Why should I do such a useless thing?" Mu Qiqi got up from the bed and hugged Sheng Xiao's waist. "Mu Tongxue came to me yesterday. I told her about Mr. Lu's situation. Looking at her expression yesterday, she will definitely prepare a big move when she goes back." Sheng Xiao didn't move and let her hug him. After a while he said, "How long are you going to hold her? It's really a kind of pain to not be able to love someone." Mu Qiqi suddenly sighed. "Why am I so lucky? The person I love also happens to love me." Chapter 651. Since there was nothing to do in the police station, Mu Qiqi decided to visit Sheng Bowen in Huangyao. This person was used to suffering himself. Even if he was wronged, he would care about others first. Thinking of his current situation in love, Mu Qiqi bought some desserts for him when she passed by the cake shop. However, she still attracted a lot of gossip from the staff when she arrived at Huangyao. Mu Qiqi found Sheng Bowen's secretary. Knowing that Sheng Bowen was not in a meeting, she asked him to introduce her to him. "Why are you here?" Sheng Bowen quickly got up from his chair when he saw Mu Qiqi. "Of course, I heard about you in the morning, so I came to see if you are crying." Mu Qiqi put down the cake and stared at Sheng Bowen. "But you don't look sad. Is there really no love?" "You are not here to see me. You are here to stab me." Sheng Bowen smiled bitterly. I can't say that I have no feelings, but it is not deep either. They sat on the sofa and chatted for a while. Suddenly the secretary, who looked calm just now, knocked on the door and said to Sheng Bowen, CEO, something happened. Chi-Chi, sit here for a while. I will go and have a look. I will go with you, Mu Chi-Chi said. Sheng Bowen knew that Mu Chi-Chi was on his side, so he did not stop her. They walked out of the office together. The secretary explained as they walked. A customer came to the shop just now. He said that the diamonds he bought in Huang Yao were fake, because he is a VVIP member and is very domineering. The manager of the shop could not handle it. Huang Yao had such a long history. How could they sell fake goods? I will go and handle it now. Having said that, Sheng Bowen quickened his pace, and Mu Chi-Chi followed behind him. Of course, she did not think that it was a coincidence, because Sheng Bowen was in charge of Huang Yao now, and he was famous for his loyalty and generosity. It was inevitable that someone would take advantage of his character to achieve their own goals, especially those who knew him well, such as Sheng Kai. They soon arrived at the counter on the first floor of Huang Yao. At this time, the rich lady was sitting on the sofa angrily. She saw that the sales manager was already bowing and apologizing to her. But obviously she did not buy it. CEO Sheng. When the crowd saw Sheng Bowen, they quickly made way for him. When the man saw Sheng Bowen, he pointed at him and said, I've been a VIP customer of Huang Yao for so many years, and I've never bought fake goods. How could I have thought that Huang Yao would also sell shoddy goods? I spent millions to buy it, but it was appraised as fake diamonds worth only a few thousand yuan. Third young master, don't you think you should give me an explanation? Having said that, the rich woman threw the certificate in front of Sheng Bowen, the diamond necklace, the receipt issued by Huang Yao, and the appraisal certificate issued by an authoritative appraisal firm. Take a good look at it yourself. By the way, I'm not short of money, and I don't need your manager to kneel and apologize to me. I just feel that my years of trust have been fed to the dogs. From now on, I won't buy anything from Huang Yao. Not only that, I'll see you in court. After venting her emotions, she got up and was about to turn around and leave. However, Sheng Bowen stopped her. Madam, please wait. What else do you have to say? Please give me 7 days to find out the truth. I will definitely tell you with facts and evidence that Huang Yao has never sold fake goods since its establishment. In order to live up to your trust, I hope you can give me a chance to prove my innocence. Sheng Bowen's words were humble and sincere, but he was trembling with fear. Seeing this, the other party's anger subsided. He nodded. All right then. Since it's the first time, I'll give you a chance. If you still can't produce any evidence in 7 days, I'll call the police. Thank you. The other party snorted and turned to leave. At this time, Sheng Bowen turned to the secretary and said, Find out the relevant personnel immediately. I want to interrogate them personally. Yes, President. With that, the secretary quickened her pace and left. Sheng Bowen looked at Mu Chi-Chi behind him and said to her apologetically, I'm afraid I don't have time to chat with you today. Let's meet another day. It seems like someone deliberately tampered with it. You should also investigate carefully. You might have let some people go, but it doesn't mean that they will be grateful. Moreover, when they want to take revenge, they will do anything. Be careful. No one can help you now. After hearing Mu Chi-Chi's words, Sheng Bowen chuckled. You're really smart. You can see the problem at a glance. Look for Xiao Xiao if there's anything. Don't worry. Sheng Bowen patted Mu Chi-Chi's shoulder and comforted her. I won't see you off. Go ahead. Hu Ran left him at this time, and now Sheng Kai came back. Just thinking about it made Sheng Bowen's situation very uncomfortable. He was not a capable person who could control the whole situation, but at least he was doing his best. Mu Chi-Chi took a deep breath and immediately left Huang Yao. However, she did not know that someone was watching her every move in the dark. That person originally came to see how Sheng Bowen would be defeated. He did not expect Mu Chi-Chi to be there. These people who had once ridden on top of his head, he would definitely make them pay 100-fold, or even 1,000-fold. After Mu Chi-Chi left Huang Yao, she went to the martial arts classroom and continued to practice her self-defense skills. Because Sheng Bowen's incident told her that she was now completely under Sheng Zhao's protection. Once Sheng Zhao's umbrella lost its effect, she would be the same as Sheng Bowen. She would become a target for everyone. That morning, Feng Shanshan and Tang Yin did not appear at the police station. Because Tang Yin had just made a great contribution, the higher-ups gave him a day off. Feng Shanshan was still angry, so when she woke up, she got up on her own and did not want to talk to this man. In their minds, each of them was the king, and they were not willing to give in at all. They were clearly doing it for each other, but they had to fight like this. Although Tang Yin seemed to be quiet and did not like to vent his anger, he would not give in even half an inch when the line was really stepped on. What happened to letting her handle it? What was going on now? Tang Yin slept until noon. When he woke up, he saw Feng Shanshan taking something from a high place, so he walked behind her to help. Feng Shanshan only felt that she was shrouded by a tall figure. She turned around and was shocked. "Can't you wear pants before coming out? I want to take a shower." Tang Yin handed the thing to her. "Go take a shower." After saying that, Feng Shanshan turned her face away and went into the kitchen. She was still angry, very angry. However, after Tang Yin finished taking a shower, he received a call from the chief. He did not even eat and went straight to the branch office. Chapter 652. After a morning's training, Mu Qiqi went to Zhongting and told Sheng Xiao everything she had seen and heard in Zhongting today. Sheng Xiao sat in his chair and did not move. After a while, he looked up at Mu Qiqi. "This is a problem that will always happen when managing a company. Third brother has a way to deal with it. Then I'm making a mountain out of a molehill." Mu Qiqi held her chin and thought for a while. "But I always feel that there will be more serious consequences. Maybe I'm too narrow-minded. I'm always on guard against Sheng Kai's revenge." After hearing Mu Qiqi's words, Sheng Xiao hooked his finger at her. When she walked to him, Sheng Xiao said, "There must be something wrong with me if I make you feel so insecure. It has nothing to do with you. It's a woman's natural instinct. It's our specialty to let our imagination run wild." Mu Qiqi sat on Sheng Xiao's lap. "You continue. I'll sleep here for a while." After that, she yawned and put her head on Sheng Xiao's shoulder. Then, she closed her eyes and fell asleep. The secretary entered the office and saw this scene. She was not surprised at all. She just handed the important documents to Sheng Xiao to sign without making a sound. In the afternoon, Yi Mansion was quiet. Mu Tongxue saw that Mama Yi was alone in the living room, so she went down to the second floor and walked to her. However, the current Mu Tongxue in front of Mama Yi was completely different from Yi Jingcheng. Little b****, I knew you were good at pretending when you were young. I was right about you. Even so, Aunt Yi, don't you still have to prepare a grand engagement ceremony to welcome me as your daughter-in-law?" Mu Tongxue sat beside Mama Yi and smiled at her. "I can't help it. I'm also a victim. Who asked your son to not let me go?" Mama Yi was speechless. She turned her head and looked elsewhere. "Since we're getting engaged, I'll tell you my request. As the man's parents, you should show me something. I'm not asking for much. I just want 5% of Yi Holdings shares. I don't want to be bullied by you after I marry into your family." After hearing Mu Tongshua's request, Mama Yi slapped her without hesitation. "I think you're crazy. It's already the luckiest thing you've ever had in your life to be engaged to my son. You still want the shares of Yi Group?" Mama Yi said. Mu Tongxue covered her face and laughed again. "It's fine if you don't give it to me. I'll ask your son for it. You know how generous he is to me, don't you? Even if I asked him to give me his heart, he would be willing." Before Mu Tongxue could finish, Mama Yi grabbed Mu Tongshue's hair and threw her to the ground. Then she kicked Mu Tongxue twice. "You're not worthy. Bah." At the moment, Yimu was ugly, not like a lady in a rich family. Of course, she believed that anyone would go crazy if they met a woman like Mu Tongxue. Mu Tongxue did not struggle. Instead, she lay on the ground moaning in pain. It was only after Mama Yi left that the servants of the Yi family, who had been hiding in a corner, came out to help Mu Tongxue up. Naturally, Mu Tongxue knew that she was hiding behind the screen. That was why she angered Mama Yi. She believed that the servants must have recorded the scene in high definition and was waiting to send it to Yi Jingcheng. Miss Mu, you're so pitiful. Why didn't you tell young master? The servants helped Mu Tongxue upstairs and placed her on the bed. I knew that his parents hated me, but I didn't expect them to hate me so much. Mu Tongxue cried silently. What are you talking about? Speaking of which, I'm the one who insisted on being with him. Miss Mu, please don't say that. Have a good rest. When young master comes back, he'll come to see you. Mu Tongxue nodded and lay on the bed. On the other hand, Yi Jingqing had received the video from the servants. In the video, he saw his mother punching and kicking Mu Tongxue. Therefore, he directly left the office and sped up to go home. Why are you back at this hour? Mama Mu was drinking tea in the garden. When she saw her son, she quickly asked. Yi Jingqing slapped her without a second thought. Whoever bullies Tongxue is my enemy. Even you can't do it. Mama Yi was stunned by Yi Jingqing's slap. It took her a long time to react. Are you crazy? You bastard. How dare you hit me? Mom, I'm warning you. If you bully Tongxue again, I'll pay you back tenfold. By then, don't blame me for being merciless. At this moment on the second floor, the window of Mu Tongxue's room was open. She crossed her arms and looked at the movements in the garden. Then the corners of her lips curled up. The show had just begun. In the afternoon, Yi Holdings released the news that Yi Jingqing was getting engaged to Mu Tongxue. It was published in the newspaper. It showed how much Yi Jingqing valued Mu Tongxue. Mu Qiqi frowned when she read the newspaper. She didn't know if Mu Tongxue was sincere or not. Was it because she wanted to take revenge on Yi Jingqing, or because she fell in love with power again? Of course, she was more inclined to the former. However, she didn't expect that the person in question would come to the police station so soon to share her answer. Are you here to ask for my congratulations? Mu Qiqi was wearing a white coat. She was called back to the lab by the professor in the afternoon. She was accompanying the professor in his experiment. Yi Jingqing does hope so, but... Mu Tongxue approached Mu Qiqi and whispered in her ear. I'm here to invite you to watch a good show. How do I know that this isn't your plan to deal with me? Sister, I'll watch over Mr. Lu no matter how much you love brother-in-law. You must come next weekend. I promised you that I'll take revenge for you. Mu Qiqi didn't agree to Mu Tongxue's invitation, but she could feel her hatred towards the Yi family and Yi Jingqing. Although Mu Tongxue was indeed a sinful person, she didn't want Mu Tongxue to disappear from this world. After that, Mu Tongxue left. But when she left, Mu Qiqi noticed that there were fingernail scratches on her face. And the way she walked was not right. She must have been slapped or treated violently. Why did she do that? Feng Shanshan saw Mu Qiqi standing at the door for a long time, so she leaned on her back. What are you thinking about? You look so focused. I suspect that Yi Jingqing did something to Mu Tongxue, said Mu Qiqi. Didn't I say that the wicked will be tortured by the wicked? Why? Do you feel sorry for her? Mu Qiqi didn't say anything, because she didn't know how far Mu Tongxue would go in order to destroy Yi Jingqing. Although she was happy to see it happen, Yi Jingqing was a man who would do anything to achieve his goals. Chapter 653. That was why life was really a cycle of karma. If Mu Tongxue was really willing to go so far for Mr. Lu, what was he thinking? After leaving the lab, Mu Qiqi called Sheng Xiao. She wanted to meet Mr. Lu. Sheng Xiao sent Su Che to pick her up, and directly sent her to Zhongting's factory. Mr. Lu was there, receiving training from Zhongting's employees. After staying there for a few days, he was really influenced by Zhongting's corporate culture. He felt that staying here was more meaningful than being a teacher. That was why he decided to stay and develop his career in Zhongting. In the evening, Mu Qiqi met Mr. Lu alone. He knew who Mu Qiqi was, but he still felt a little uncomfortable when he thought of how similar her cheeks were to Mu Tongxue's. However, he knew very well that the person in front of him was not a nurse, but a real forensic doctor. Mr. Lu, I'm sorry for wasting your time. What's there to waste? If you and Chief Sheng didn't bring me back, I might still be suffering in the mountains. Mr. Lu appeared a little bashful. What do you think of Mu Tongxue? Mu Qiqi did not come here to exchange pleasantries with him. She wanted to know if this man had any feelings for Mu Tongxue. She's a very special student, Mr. Lu said honestly. It's a little unbearable to be liked by her. Does that mean that you don't have any feelings for her other than that of a teacher and a student? Mr. Liu shook his head firmly. No. All right. I'm sorry for wasting your time. You stay here. Having said that, Mu Qiqi left the meeting room in Zhongting's factory. That left Mr. Liu scratching his head. When Mu Qiqi was serious, she looked much more mysterious than Mu Tongxue. At the very least, the teacher could not tell what she was thinking. Mu Qiqi only felt pity for Mu Tongxue. She had sacrificed everything to protect this man and avenge him. But in the end, this man really had no feelings for Mu Tongxue. He only treated her as someone he knew. That was all. Was it worth it? After returning to Zhongting, Mu Qiqi fell into Sheng Xiao's arms in silence. Seeing that she was upset, Sheng Xiao did not ask what happened. It was only on the way home that he asked, "What did you talk about with that teacher?" I asked him if he had feelings for Mu Tongxue. Mu Qiqi answered honestly, "I want to know if the man Mu Tongxue gave her heart to is worth it. What's your conclusion?" I can only say that she deserves it. After that, Mu Qiqi lay on Sheng Xiao's lap. No matter how depressed she was, it was a fact that she could not change. Mu Tongxue invited us to her engagement ceremony with Yi Jingqing next weekend. She asked me to go and watch the show. Then let's go. Sheng Xiao answered her directly. At the same time, in Feng Shanshan's courtyard, since Tang Yin had not seen him since he went out today, Feng Shanshan did whatever she wanted to do. She did not have to care about him. It seemed that she was the only one who was angry. Tang Yin acted as if nothing had happened. He even avoided talking to her, and even quarreled with her. But Feng Shanshan was an impatient person. If she did not make things clear, she would not be able to eat or sleep well. Because of this premise, she sat in her courtyard, waiting for Tang Yan's figure. At 8 o'clock in the evening, Tang Yin drove home. When he saw Feng Shanshan sitting in the courtyard, he went up to her and said, "Don't you know that you are now the focus of the pursuit? And it's so blatant. I'm in my own house. Do I have to hide and lock the door?" Feng Shanshan asked Tang Yin in return. "Go in. Let's make things clear first. What are you thinking about our relationship?" Feng Shanshan crossed her arms and asked him, "Do you think this is a hotel? Do you think that I, your girlfriend, is dispensable? I know you can sacrifice everything, even me, for the sake of investigating the case. But please hide a little. Don't take it for granted. It's none of my business where you go. I should stand by the side and ignore who framed you. If you die outside, it's fine if others collect your body. I don't have to look for you. Do you think I'm annoying you? What kind of trash am I with? I don't feel warm at all. No wonder your ex cheated. I won't cheat, but I can't stand you either." After saying that, Feng Shanshan got up from the chair. Although she knew that the last sentence was too harsh, this man still did not react at all. After a long time he said, "It's cold outside. Go in. I don't F***king feel safe. What's the difference between going in and coming out? And the person who makes me worry is you." "I'm sorry," Tang Yin said in a low voice. "I don't think I can be a qualified partner. So, are you going to break up?" I'll try to learn." Although Feng Shanshan was so angry, she really did not think about breaking up with this man. Why? So when she heard Tang Yin say those words, she heaved a sigh of relief. "That's more like it. I'm not like those pretentious girls outside who need you to coax them. Is it so difficult to let you do the most basic thing?" Tang Yin reached out and pulled Feng Shanshan over. He put his arm around her shoulders and walked home together. "It's just that there's suddenly a woman who's stronger than a man. I'm not used to it. I don't know how to get along with her. You told me to take care of her." Tang Yin stopped talking. In fact, he had deliberately stayed away from Feng Shanshan for the past 2 days, because he had just carried out an important mission. He was afraid that he would be followed by the criminals' henchmen. If they found out that he had a woman at home, it would bring unimaginable disaster to Feng Shanshan. It was just that this woman did not seem to understand how much he cared about her. He was not good with words, but he would protect his woman. But obviously, what a woman wanted was not just a man's protection behind her back. Perhaps it was because they had not done it for a long time. So after the two of them went home, they were like dry wood and a raging fire. However, Tang Yen had a lot of injuries on his body, so he could not go all out. However, this was not a problem for Feng Shanshan. The two of them repeatedly pressed against each other. In the end, Feng Shanshan wrote on his body, "Let me do it." Of course, Tang Yen would not refuse at this time. Chapter 654. Mu Qiqi's guess was right. Huang Yao's fake diamonds had a more serious follow-up. Early in the morning, another Huang Yao customer brought a reporter to Huang Yao's counter. Just like the rich lady before, she also bought a fake one. If there was only one case, it might not prove that someone deliberately framed Huang Yao. But there were two cases in a row. How could Xing Bowen continue to comfort himself? Every necklace and accessory in Huang Yao had a special serial number corresponding to it. Moreover, there were specialized senior customer service staff in charge of sales in every area. But from the beginning until now, the staff in charge of that area had disappeared. The corresponding diamond was also missing. Wasn't that enough to explain the problem? Xing Bowen called the police late last night. Before dawn, an emergency board meeting was held, and an emergency plan was launched. Now, Huang Yao's jewelry sales were completely stopped. Xing Bowen asked the employees to check the current jewelry in Huang Yao one by one to prevent any more fake goods. But even if he did this, there were still some loopholes. Xing Bowen had already sent people to look for the customer that the missing employee was in charge of, and sincerely recovered the jewelry. However, he was not willing to buy some people at all, especially this rich young lady in front of him. Of course, this was her personal choice. The staff of Huang Yao tried to communicate with her, but found that it was useless. She did not really want to solve the problem. She just wanted to expose the fake jewelry in Huang Yao. She was angry. She felt that Huang Yao had hurt her interests as a VVP member of Huang Yao. She was embarrassed wearing fake jewelry when she went out. Then, the news in Jianchuan followed up and reported it. Huang Yao immediately issued a public relations document. First, it was a sincere apology. Due to the staff's poor management, the interests of the consumers were damaged. Huang Yao had called the police, and the police would find the person involved as soon as possible. Secondly, Huang Yao would recover the jewelry sold by the staff to protect the rights of every consumer. They also promised that Huang Yao would identify the authenticity of the jewelry on the spot and give the consumers the most satisfactory answer. Once the public relations document was issued, it did not restore much confidence in Huang Yao. Because it was the time when the consumers were disgusted, the matter continued to ferment. Old Sheng had planned to live out his remaining years in peace. After all, it was not easy for him to keep his life. But now that the news about Huang Yao had blown up, he would not be old Sheng if he pretended that nothing had happened. So he called Xing Bowen home. "Third brother, what's going on?" Old Master Sheng pointed at the news on the television and asked, "Wasn't it fine 2 days ago?" "Grandpa, I'm sorry. I'm useless." Xing Bowen said helplessly, "I can't be like eighth brother and kill all problems in the cradle. I've seen your public relations work. There's nothing you missed out on. You've done everything you should." Old Master Sheng sighed. "I just want to know if this matter has anything to do with Sheng Kai." Xing Bowen lowered his head and did not look at the old man. After a while he replied, "The matter is still under investigation. We can't be sure yet. I know that you're worried about my health." Old Master Sheng waved his hand. "It's my fault that I didn't get rid of this evil creature. Now that he has made a comeback and wants to stir up trouble, you're the only one who can bear it." After saying that, Old Master Sheng turned around and supported himself on the chair. Xing Bowen was worried about his health, so he quickly went forward to support him. "Grandpa, I will do my best to protect Huang Yao. Although I'm not as smart as eighth brother, as long as I'm the CEO of Huang Yao, I will treat Huang Yao as my own life." Old Master Sheng shook his head and patted him on the shoulder. "Just do your best." Now he was no longer obsessed with these things. However, Xing Bowen still felt that he had a great responsibility. So after meeting Old Master Sheng, he returned to Huang Yao. But when the secretary saw him, she said awkwardly, "CEO, there's another distinguished guest." Xing Bowen knew very well that they were probably here for the shares in Sheng Kai's hands. These people were taking advantage of the situation. He did not know how much they would lower the price. It's okay. Make tea and bring it to the conference room. After the incident at Huang Yao broke out, Mu Qiqi also paid close attention to it. If the troublemaker's rich wife yesterday was just a test subject, then this rich young lady today should be a new breed that the other party had improved and was more aggressive. The divorce between Hu Ran and Xing Bowen was already a blow to him. Now that Huang Yao was being targeted like this, Mu Qiqi could not imagine how difficult her brother's life would be. It was especially so for old Master Sheng, who had just returned home. He valued Huang Yao the most. Now that such a thing happened to Huang Yao, she did not know if he would be provoked and return to the hospital again. Feng Shanshan saw that she was not paying attention, so she asked her, "Do you want to go back and help? There's nothing much to do in the station these few days. You don't need to waste your time here." "How can I help? I've heard about the VVIP night of Huang Yao that you planned. Although you're really annoying, you're really smart. Moreover, you're a forensic doctor after all. You'll definitely be able to detect problems better than the average person. Maybe you can really find something when you go back and take a look." Mu Qiqi shook her head. "I don't know about jewelry, but you've seen a lot of schemes." But Sheng Xiao said that this time, he would let Xing Bowen grow alone. So, even if she wanted to help, she felt that her man was right. "And what identity should I go with?" Mu Qiqi rolled her eyes. When she was about to go back to the lab, a senior came to her and told her that someone was looking for her. Mu Qiqi thought that it was Mu Tongxue again and did not want to see her. But when she saw the person, she realized that the person was looking for Sheng Bowen. It was Hu Ran. "Did I disturb you?" "No." Mu Qiqi shook her head. They were not related in name anymore. Mu Qiqi did not know this former sister-in-law very well, so it was inevitable that they would feel awkward. "If you're here to ask about third brother, I suggest you go and see him yourself. I don't know much either. All I know is from TV and gossip." Having said that, Mu Qiqi was about to leave, but Hu Ran stopped her. "I never thought that I would leave him at this critical moment. I didn't expect things to turn out like this." Chapter 655. Since you left so decisively, don't pretend to be affectionate to tease him. He's already in a bad situation. You know, third brother is easily soft-hearted. This was Mu Qiqi's last advice to Hu Ran. And Hu Ran could tell from Mu Qiqi's words that she hated her. Because Mu Qiqi was a very direct person. If she liked someone, she liked them. If she hated them, she hated them. Since she accepted her as her third sister-in-law because of Sheng Bowen, she could also hate her because of Sheng Bowen. She was the one who wanted to leave, and now she was the one who pretended to care. Although Mu Qiqi did not want to comment on other people's feelings, she knew that she should not give up easily. If she wanted to give up, she should do it directly. In fact, Hu Ran did not know why she had become such a disgusting person. Sheng Bowen probably thought the same about her. After Mu Qiqi returned to the laboratory, she still felt sorry for Sheng Bowen. So she took off her white coat and said to Feng Shanshan, "I'll go and see if third brother needs my help." "Go. I think you should be able to help a lot." Mu Qiqi left the branch office. On the way, she called Sheng Xiao. Sheng Xiao knew that this little one could not help but not care about him. It would be fine if it was someone else, but she cared about Sheng Bowen as a real brother. Don't interfere with things that you shouldn't interfere with. You have to know your limits. Also, you'd better go and help, not cause trouble. You underestimate me. Mu Qiqi snorted. "I'll talk to you in detail when I get home tonight." After that, Mu Qiqi hung up. At this time, Sheng Xiao asked Su Che about Sheng Kai's recent news. If it was really Sheng Kai this time, he would definitely make Sheng Kai fall into eternal damnation. An hour later, Mu Qiqi arrived at Huang Yao. Now the entrance was surrounded by reporters. It seemed that they did not want to give her a chance to breathe. Seeing this, Mu Qiqi could only call Sheng Bowen. "Third brother, your helper is here." Sheng Bowen hesitated for a moment, but he still felt that Mu Qiqi's little brain might really be able to help him. So, he asked his secretary to bring Mu Qiqi upstairs. However, during this process, the secretary seemed to be different from other secretaries. "Miss Mu, I used to work for Sheng Kai. Mu Chichi was stunned for a moment, but the secretary continued. Back then, he asked me to spy on the president, and I was sent to the president's side. The president also knew that I was a spy, but he didn't fire me. Instead, he still gave me an important task. He is a very kind person. That's why I feel terrible seeing him suffer like this. I hope that Miss Mu can help him. I know that you're very outstanding. Mu Chichi's heart skipped a beat when she heard that. She did not expect third brother's secretary to have such a background. She had never heard him mention it before. I hope so. I can help him. Soon, the two of them arrived at the CEO's office. When Sheng Bowen saw Mu Chichi, he forced a smile. Eighth brother asked you to help me? Didn't he say that he wouldn't care about such things? Don't listen to him. What does he mean by not interfering with your growth? I think that person must have done more behind the scenes. It's just that we don't know yet. In this world, you are probably the person who knows him the best. Mu Chichi saw that his desk was full of documents. She knew how troubled he was. Is there anything I can help you with now? The police are doing their best to arrest that employee. Although Huang Yao was framed, it's also because of our negligence that this happened. No matter what, I must bear this responsibility. The most troublesome thing now is how to appease the two VVIP members who bought the fake goods. It seems that they don't want to reconcile or even solve the problem. They just want to vent their anger. Before they are appeased, I can't proceed with the second step. Let me have a look at their information. Maybe I can handle it? Mu Chichi said. Sheng Bowen looked at Mu Chichi deeply and finally nodded. I'll ask my secretary to prepare it for you. What's your secretary's name? Ren Yufei. What's wrong? Mu Chichi looked at his back and shook her head. It's nothing. If I really get rid of these two people, how are you going to thank me? What do you want? Just tell me. Sheng Bowen knew that Mu Chichi did not lack anything. Whatever she wanted, eighth brother would do it for her. I'll owe you. Of course, I'm not 100% confident. I might make things worse. You have to be mentally prepared. What could be worse than this? Sheng Bowen couldn't help but sneer. Have you asked Sheng Kai about it? I'll solve my own problem first. Obviously, Sheng Bowen had a deep understanding of his situation. It also meant that he was actually a down-to-earth man, although he might not be as smart as Sheng Xiao. Mu Chichi did not mention Sheng Kai again. She felt that Sheng Kai's name was not worthy to be mentioned in front of third brother. Soon, Secretary Run gave Mu Chichi the information of the two VVIP members. Mu Chichi seized the time and acted immediately. As a matter of fact, old Sheng really wanted to do something for Huang Yao, even if it was something insignificant. However, he knew that he shouldn't trouble third brother with his current situation. Moreover, he believed that eighth brother would support Huang Yao from behind, which was why he forced himself to let go of his worries for Huang Yao and Sheng Bowen. However, his anxiety was relieved when he heard that Mu Chichi would go over to help. Indeed, one could only see the truth in adversity. At a time like this, we can't rely on anyone from the Sheng family. It's hard on that girl. She knows nothing about jewelry, but she is still willing to help. In fact, old Master Sheng trusted Mu Chichi very much. He had seen the VVIP night planned by this girl. She was very smart. Moreover, she was good at resolving conflicts. But when he thought of how he treated her in the past, he could not help but feel a little ashamed. Mu Chichi looked at the information of the two guests. One was a rich lady, and the other was a rich young lady. Although Mu Chichi was not sure if they were really related to Sheng Kai, the two types of people had completely different personalities. Of course, they would solve things differently. Chapter 656. Sheng Bowen gave Secretary Run to Mu Chichi because she knew the current situation of Huang Yao better. In fact, Ren Yufei really wanted to know what Mu Chichi was planning. Why didn't she go to the rich lady's house first? Instead, she wanted to look for this rich lady first. The two of them soon arrived at the door of the rich lady's house. Before entering, Ren Yufei asked Mu Chichi with some uncertainty. Miss Mu, are you really going to deal with this reporter first? She is a very difficult person to deal with. Don't think about it. Let's go in, Mu Chichi said meaningfully. Mu Chichi said meaningfully. I've seen a lot of troublesome people. I won't let you down. How can I bear to make you worry about third brother? Ren Yufei's face suddenly turned red. It seemed that Mu Qiqi's guess was right. This secretary had slowly changed from admiration to liking Sheng Bowen. Miss Mu, please don't make such a joke. After all, the president is also a man with a family. I don't want him to be misunderstood. That was true. At present, the outside world still did not know the news of Sheng Bowen and Hu Ran's divorce. However, she would not tell the secretary about it because she did not want this well-behaved secretary to become Sheng Bowen's healing medicine. It was very unfair to her. All right, I'll be careful in the future. You can go and ring the doorbell. Ren Yufei nodded and went forward to ring the doorbell. Then, the family's servant came out to open the door and asked Mu Qiqi who they were looking for. Ren Yufei expressed the purpose of their visit, and the servant quickly invited the two of them into the living room. However, the two of them waited in the living room for about an hour before they saw the rich lady get up from the bed. It was winter, but she was wearing beige silk pajamas. She sat down in front of Mu Qiqi and Ren Yufei. You're here for the fake diamond incident, right? But I've already expressed my position very clearly. I don't want any compensation, and I don't need any apology. Huang Yao has embarrassed me. I won't let it go. Is this logic, right? The other party glanced at the two of them and said in an impolite tone, no matter what you want me to ask for today, I will tell you that when I'm not angry, Huang Yao will never be good. Miss Gao, do I look like someone from Huang Yao? Mu Qiqi asked with a smile. The man looked at Mu Qiqi suspiciously. Then he said, I've seen your secretary twice. Miss Gao, you come from a famous family, and you are also a fashion reporter. You have been involved with fashion since young, and you have a public account on all the major websites. Am I right? What are you trying to say? Mu Qiqi smiled confidently and took out her phone from her pocket. She found the short video she had just searched for and showed it to him. This video is quite old. It's one of Miss Gao's early works. It clearly records how Miss Gao taught everyone how to distinguish between real and fake diamonds. So with all due respect, with Miss Gao's eyesight, it's unlikely that you can't tell if this diamond necklace is real or fake, right? The man did not expect Mu Qiqi to show him the video. His expression was a little unnatural. You said it yourself. It was years ago. She already had such a good eye for diamonds a few years ago. Could it be that after a few years, Miss Gao's eye for diamonds has deteriorated? Don't you know how to distinguish between diamonds? Then aren't you lying to the public by posting these on all the public accounts? Mu Qiqi looked innocent and curious. But in fact she was pressuring the man step by step. If Miss Gao really admitted that she bought a fake necklace, then she would be suspected of lying to the fans. In fact, it would be a bad thing for both sides. I was confused for a moment. What's so strange about that? Miss Gao, I also believe that you were confused for a moment. But the fans won't believe it, right? Mu Qiqi knocked on the glass coffee table with her finger. The man was obviously speechless after hearing Mu Qiqi's words. He could only look away. The rich lady from before said that she bought a fake diamond. All right, I'll assume that she is a nouveau riche. It's reasonable for her to buy a fake necklace. But, would a fashionista like Miss Gao make such a mistake? Mu Qiqi pressed on. The man's eyes flickered. He subconsciously clenched his fists. This was a sign of nervousness. Miss Gao, you don't have to be nervous. After all, I've said that I'm not an employee of Huang Yao. I'm not here today to criticize you. I just want to help you solve your problem. The man pursed his lips. Finally, he turned around and looked at Mu Qiqi warily. Can you really solve it? That must be built on the basis of mutual trust. Miss Gao, you should tell me why you want to do this. This is the premise. Mu Qiqi took the opportunity to make a request. The man was obviously very resistant to this answer. Moreover, what Mu Qiqi said was not a big enough threat to Miss Gao. I can't say. Mu Qiqi seemed to have expected this answer. She smiled and said, that's fine. I still have to go to the rich lady's place. I just don't know what kind of answer she will give me. And Miss Gao, let me give you a piece of advice. Slandering Huang Yao will not do you any good. Even if Huang Yao closes down in the end, the Sheng family still has Zhongting. But what about you? If Huang Yao is damaged, as the person involved, Don't think that you can stay out of it. At most, we will all die together. It's fine for us. The Sheng family is a big business. At most, we will earn less money. But for you, your reputation will be ruined in front of your fans. This will be worse than killing you. After all, this is the result of your hard work. So it's fine. I'm also very easygoing. I'm just here to express my stance. Since you have given me the answer, then, let's go first. After all, Miss Gao's time is very precious. Having said that, Mu Qiqi stood up from the sofa. Ren Yufei followed behind her. The two of them walked toward the door without any hesitation. It was as if they were not afraid that Huang Yao's reputation would be ruined. Helpless, Miss Gao had no choice but to stop her. If I tell you who the mastermind is, will you be able to think of a way to solve this problem? I said, you have to tell me what happened first. I don't like people negotiating with me. The other party was really helpless. In the end, she made a gesture of invitation. Sit down first. I will tell you slowly. When Mu Qiqi and Ren Yufei returned to their seats, Miss Gao said, you guessed right. When I went to buy the diamond, I already knew that the necklace was fake. Chapter 657. Who? His surname is also Sheng. He didn't let me know his full name, and that's all I know. As long as I act well, not only can I get compensation from Huang Yao, but I can also get a reward from him. Because of this temptation, I agreed. Miss Gao told her everything, because she knew very well that Mu Qiqi was the one who scared people now. This girl was too smart. It's really him. Mu Qiqi sneered. You can't get the money. I can only guarantee that you won't lose your reputation. But you can't do anything like leading the way anymore. I admit defeat when I meet you. The other party spread out her hands helplessly. You have your own resources, and are born with a lot of ways to make money. However, the last thing you should do is harm the interests of others to achieve your own goals. Not to mention that Huang Yao is innocent. Your way of doing things is unreasonable no matter where you go. Blocking people's way of making money is like killing their parents. Do you think that even if you get the money, you won't be hurt? Especially as a public figure, if you don't cherish your own feathers, it's only a matter of time before you self-destruct. Think about it carefully. After hearing this, Miss Gao couldn't help but laugh at herself. I'm almost 28 years old. My knowledge and foresight can't compare to a young girl in her early 20s. I'm convinced. What do you need me to do? Mu Qiqi looked at her, and then whispered a plan in her ear. The whole process only took half an hour. Ren Yufei thought that she would spend the whole day with Mu Qiqi. She even imagined that they would talk to each other in a low voice. However, she did not expect that Mu Qiqi looked young and impatient. In fact, there was a ravine in her heart. No wonder Ren Yufei saw Mu Qiqi playing with her phone all the way here. It turned out that Mu Qiqi was preparing to negotiate with Miss Gao. Miss Mu, where are we going now? To that rich lady's house? Mu Qiqi shook her head. There's no need. As I said, the rich lady can pretend that I don't know anything. So what we did just now won't be able to threaten her. That Miss Gao cares because she's very famous outside. This rich lady is just an accessory to her husband. She lives in seclusion. As long as Miss Gao comes out to appease the consumers, what's the big deal about the rich lady? Let's go back to Huang Yao. Ren Yufei nodded and followed behind Mu Qiqi. The two of them quickly returned to Huang Yao. Sheng Bowen was even a little surprised. Has he been dealt with? More accurately, I've settled half of it. Mu Qiqi smiled. Third brother, I didn't tell you about this when we went out to look for Miss Gao. Since they are already VVIP customers of Huang Yao, why can't they tell the difference between real and fake diamonds? Have you ever thought about it? Sheng Bowen pondered for a few seconds and finally understood. That Gao guy, in order to show off, made a video of him trying to distinguish diamonds. But this time, she bought a fake diamond. Do you think her fans will still believe her in the future? But she doesn't want to stand out and say that I was forced to do it for money. So I thought of a compromise. I asked her to go to the hospital as soon as possible to get a certificate to prove that there's something wrong with her eyes, so that she can't distinguish the diamonds. Then, she will come out and make a statement. Only then will her public image not collapse in front of her fans. She will take this opportunity to speak up for Huang Yao. After Sheng Bowen heard this, he gave her a thumbs up. You've been with eighth brother for a long time. You've become so good at doing things. I can't help but admire you. In short, I have to thank you for this. Say thank you later. You can go with your little secretary. I'll wait for Miss Gao to come out and make a statement. Sheng Bowen patted Mu Qiqi's shoulder. His heart was heavy at first, but at this moment, he suddenly felt relieved. Then I'll be busy. Yufei, prepare the documents. I have a meeting soon. Mu Qiqi stayed in Shen Bowen's office. She didn't go anywhere, because she couldn't guarantee that Gao Gai would really speak up for Huang Yao. Who could say for sure what would happen in the future? Especially since the little secretary had gone with Sheng Bowen. Now, there was no one in the office to accompany her to relieve her boredom. In the meeting room of Huang Yao, the board of directors was currently discussing the issue of Sheng Kai's shares. According to the information that Shen Bowen had, Sheng Kai seemed to have decided to sell his shares to a notorious foreigner. To Sheng Kai, he could do whatever he wanted now. After all, he just needed to sit at home and collect money. He was not the one who needed to worry about how to manage the company. The police have made a major breakthrough. There are clues about the salesman and the whereabouts of the real necklace. After all, it's a big deal. It's not easy for him to sell it, so he put it on the black market. But the police intercepted it. Judging from the two incidents, both were done by Sheng Kai. Our people who went to look for Miss Gao have already understood the situation clearly. At present, there are more and more clues. It's also beneficial for us. Sooner or later, the truth will come to light. CEO Sheng, I don't doubt your ability. But shouldn't we think of a way to get rid of Sheng Kai? Otherwise, we will have endless trouble in the future. In the meeting room, the discussion was in full swing. After a while, Sheng Bowen brought his secretary to a video conference because several of his partners had shaken their confidence in the cooperation. He had to appease them first. Meanwhile, Ren Yufei tirelessly followed by his side. She did not even complain for a moment. Perhaps it was because Miss Gao needed time to prepare. So Mu Qiqi waited in Huang Yao's office until the afternoon. Huang Yao's shares were still plummeting. Mu Qiqi thought that she would wait for Miss Gao to arrive at 4 o'clock. If Miss Gao was still unwilling, or did not have the courage to stand up, then she would make her move. Just when she was bored, Sheng Xiao called her. How is it? Mu Qiqi looked at the time and answered Sheng Xiao. I'm waiting for news. It's just that it's really boring in third brother's office. Su Che is downstairs. Go home, little one. Sheng Xiao smiled. Since you're waiting, why don't you stay by my side? Of course, I'd rather be with you. After Mu Qiqi hung up the phone, she quickly went downstairs. At this time, one of the people involved in the fake diamond incident stood out in public again. Chapter 658. If the person involved in this matter continued to bite on Huang Yao, then Huang Yao's positive image would continue to decline in the hearts of the consumers. Therefore, Miss Gao's attitude was very important. However, she had made it clear last time that she would not reconcile with Huang Yao. She must see Huang Yao's reputation fall to the ground. So, if she spoke again, did it mean that she would reveal more about the communication between her and Huang Yao? Maybe there would be some big news? But to everyone's surprise, Miss Gao first apologized to the media and the public as soon as she came out. Then she took out the diagnosis she had prepared. She claimed that there was indeed something wrong with her eyes recently. Her vision was always blurry, and she had double vision. So when she chose the diamonds, she might have done it under the condition of poor eyesight. She did not do a good job of distinguishing the diamonds, so she was also responsible. Secondly, under such a premise, she also came to the conclusion that this matter was a problem with the internal employees of Huang Yao from beginning to end. It was not a problem with Huang Yao's diamonds. This also showed that the quality of Huang Yao was still trustworthy. In addition, Huang Yao had recently added a segment to test the authenticity of the diamonds on the spot. Therefore, from this point of view, what Huang Yao needed to solve now was internal staff conflicts. As long as the person who set the pace led the problem to the right path, then the public would shift their attention to the real problem. In other words, It was meaningless for the media to hype up the news of Huang Yao selling fake goods. As for the rich madam, just as Mu Qiqi said, after Miss Gao came out to speak, she became completely unimportant. Because Miss Gao had already said that there was no problem with the quality of Huang Yao. However, no one in this world was perfect. You could not expect a company and everyone to never have a problem. You had to give them time to solve it. And Huang Yao was also actively responding, and the police were also trying their best to arrest the suspect. Therefore, Miss Gao felt that she should not use her popularity to cause negative damage to Huang Yao. With such a change in direction, the people of Huang Yao immediately heaved a sigh of relief. Even if there was no way to immediately eliminate the negative impact, it was equivalent to releasing all the pressure on them. Mississippi Mu, you are really capable and smart. This was Ren Yufei's feeling after following behind Mu Qiqi for a long time. Maybe it's because of her keen senses as a forensic doctor that she can easily see things that we can't. When we went to the Gao family, I really thought that we would have to kneel and apologize to each other. After Sheng Bowen heard this, he smiled. Xiao Qi has reached out her hand and achieved the desired effect. It's time for us to work hard and complete our mission. After that, Sheng Bowen looked at his watch. Let's go. We're running out of time. When the police bring him back, we should go and meet Sheng Kai. From the bottom of his heart, Sheng Bowen admitted that Mu Qiqi had helped him a lot this time. Perhaps, his eighth brother and his wife were his benefactors in this life. At the same time, he learned a little about Mu Qiqi's meticulousness. At the very least, he would be more confident in dealing with such emergencies in the future. Mu Qiqi was very satisfied when she saw Miss Gao's statement on TV. At least, she had accurately conveyed what she wanted that woman to say to the public. At least the huge mountain that was pressing down on Huang Yao's head was finally gone. Third brother should be able to relax now, said Mu Qiqi as she leaned against Sheng Xiao's desk. Well done, Sheng Xiao praised without looking up. You know how to use the available clues to counterattack. Didn't I learn it from you? Mu Qiqi walked around the desk and sat on Sheng Xiao's lap. I've been subtly influenced by you. You grasped the key point and broke it in one blow. But you haven't done it thoroughly enough. Sheng Xiao looked at her and said, you only managed to save your life. You're considered qualified, but you haven't learned the most important thing, counterattack. Huh. Have you forgotten that there's a saying? You'll get yourself into trouble? Mu Qiqi suddenly realized that Sheng Xiao was reminding her not to forget the person who ignited the fire. Once the crisis of Huang Yao was resolved, it would be the time for others to suffer. So that night, there was a new development in the case of Huang Yao selling fake diamonds. Someone had been bribed and instigated. It was said that this person had a deep grudge against the Sheng family before, and this move was to take revenge. Moreover, Sheng Kai had been planning to sell his shares in Huang Yao recently, so the public naturally pointed the finger at Sheng Kai as the suspect. The consortium that had originally planned to buy Sheng Kai's shares withdrew automatically when they found out that Sheng Kai had such a deep grudge against the Sheng family. After all, they did not want to be involved too much with the grudges of a wealthy family. In addition, Sheng Bowen was as calm as Mount Tai. Therefore, the internal affairs of Huang Yao were temporarily stabilized by him. This was probably because of the blessing brought about by his loyal personality. Especially in times of crisis, such people were often more likely to gain the trust of others. However, the thrilling events of the past 2 days were still very hard for Huang Yao. Sheng Bowen worked overtime at the company until late at night. When he looked up and saw the secretary behind the glass door, he could not help but feel guilty. So he stood up and walked to Ren Yufei. You can get off work long ago. You don't have to stay here. Now that Huang Yao has passed the crisis, go back and rest, or go on a date with your boyfriend. Ren Yufei saw Sheng Bowen's tall figure and nodded. Okay, then I'll go home first. This little girl was really affectionate and loyal. She had done her best for Huang Yao. The fake diamond incident was like a storm for Huang Yao. It came and went quickly. After Sheng Bowen settled the matter of Huang Yao and returned home, he told Old Master Sheng about Mu Qiqi's contributions. When Old Master Sheng heard about it, he sighed repeatedly. How good would it be if this girl didn't become a forensic doctor, and helped manage Huang Yao. Grandpa. All right, I know that her ambition is not here, and I won't force her. However, it was indeed because of that girl's wit that Huang Yao was able to get through the crisis so quickly this time. Treat her to a meal some other day and thank her for me. After hearing old Master Sheng's words, Sheng Bowen laughed. After this old man was sick, he was indeed very different from before. He was also willing to understand others. Chapter 659. I don't want to think about this for the time being. I just got divorced, so I haven't forgotten about her yet, Sheng Bowen replied. Although there was no passionate love between him and Hu Ran, they had been husband and wife for so long. He really couldn't turn around and find another woman. Up to you. After saying that, the old man returned to his room. Then Sheng Bowen called Sheng Xiao. Want to have a drink with Xiao Qi? Sure, Sheng Xiao said. Then I'll choose a place and send you the address. Sheng Xiao was silent for a moment and did not respond. It was as if he was talking to the woman beside him. After about 10 seconds, he asked Sheng Bowen. The little one said to bring Secretary Run along. How am I going to look for her? She has her own life. Don't worry, she's single. It won't be inconvenient. Sheng Xiao followed Mu Qiqi's words and hung up without waiting for Sheng Bowen's reply. Sheng Bowen's eyes widened. Wasn't it strange for him to call the secretary in the middle of the night and ask her out for a meal? He thought that as a superior, he was going to sleep with the secretary. These two people were completely making things difficult for him. However, eating was not the main point. Mu Qiqi had done a great job today. If he couldn't even satisfy Mu Qiqi's request, it wouldn't make sense. Therefore, he bit the bullet and found Ren Yufei's number. Then, he braced himself and dialed the number. He even silently prayed in his heart that Ren Yufei had already turned off her phone and gone to sleep. However, he didn't expect the phone to ring, and Ren Yufei picked up. President? Yes, it's me. Sheng Bowen pretended to be serious. Are you asleep? Well, Xiaoqi asked me out for a meal and asked me to call you. She said that you've been working hard with me recently. She asked if you're willing. Okay, tell me the address. Ren Yufei trusted Sheng Bowen very much. Since Mu Qiqi was there, the situation shouldn't be awkward. See you later then. He didn't know what Xiaoqi was up to. She had to see Secretary Run in the middle of the night. Was she very familiar with her? No matter what, Sheng Bowen didn't have any other thoughts. After greeting old Master Sheng, he went straight out. On Sheng Zhao's side, Mu Qiqi was overjoyed. I can totally imagine third brother's embarrassed look when he called Secretary Run. Do you think they have a chance? Sheng Xiao looked at Mu Qiqi helplessly. This thing had been getting into all sorts of matches lately. I can see that Secretary Run likes third brother. She admires him from the bottom of her heart. So I think they really have a chance. Third brother doesn't like people like Hu Ran, who are ordinary and have no experience. Then, Secretary Run has always been with him in his career, supporting each other. He shouldn't be able to resist this type of person, right? Unable to retort, Sheng Xiao could only shake his head. Soon the two of them arrived at the agreed place. However, what was surprising was that Sheng Bowen had not arrived yet. He even let Secretary Ren sit alone in her seat and wait. Chief Sheng, Miss Mu. Since you're not in the company, don't be so restrained. Mu Qiqi sat down beside Ren Yufei. This girl was really beautiful. No wonder Sheng Kai had chosen her to seduce Sheng Bowen. But our identities are different. Before the three of them could chat for a while, Sheng Bowen finally arrived at the hotel. When he saw that Ren Yufei had also arrived, he seemed a little more reserved. Have you ordered? You guys drink your wine. I felt that I had a good impression of Secretary Run, so I chatted for a while. Mu Qiqi took the initiative to ease the awkwardness between them. Don't be so stiff. After your CEO comes out, he's just an ordinary man. He also needs to eat, drink, and go to the bathroom. You were the one who called him out. Of course, you have to be responsible for taking care of him. Sheng Bowen threw the responsibility away. Mu Qiqi did not take it. In any case, she had plenty of ways to deal with this loyal dog. Secretary Ren, you should be a little older than me. I'll call you Sister Yufei. Miss Mu, I'm afraid that's not a good idea. You're single now, right? In the future, Come out often and see your CEO's rotten life after work. Sheng Bowen drank a glass of red wine and relaxed a little. He did not take Mu Qiqi's bait. Who cares about you? Seeing this, Secretary Ren also laughed. I thought that the CEO treats everyone equally. It turns out that there are also those who are close and those who are distant. However, when she thought that Sheng Bowen was already married, her expression became a little gloomy. That's right. In front of those who are close to him, he has no image at all. Mu Qiqi carefully observed Ren Yufei's expression and knew that she was very hesitant and evasive. After all, in the eyes of outsiders, Sheng Bowen was now a married man. This also proved that Ren Yufei was really kind-hearted. If it were those who had evil thoughts, they would not really care whether you had a family or not. She had heard a lot about secretaries rising to the top. Then the relationship between the CEO and his wife should be very good. After all, the CEO has a very good temper. That's hard to say. Mu Qiqi did not intend to reveal the answer during the meal. Xiao Qi, I want to toast you for today's matter. The person I admire the most in my heart now has changed from eighth brother to you. Because now, you're the person who can even control eighth brother. Mu Qiqi turned around to look at Sheng Zhao's expression. When she saw that the man was not angry, she smiled. That's right. However, Sheng Zhao still snorted at the two of them at the right time. Eighth brother, don't be unconvinced. Do you think that Xiao Qi has the final say in your family? Have you ever heard of butterflies in the stomach? Xiao Qi is on top of you, which is in accordance with the law. Uft. Ahem. Mu Qiqi's expression became a little unnatural. What do you mean by being on top of me? Why does it sound so erotic? Alright, cheers. Mu Qiqi quickly poured wine into his mouth. Secretary Run was also sitting at the side. Her face was red because she had seen Sheng Bowen many times, but she had never seen him drunk. Tonight, Mu Qiqi had really broadened her horizons. Actually, did Mu Qiqi care about this meal? Of course, it was to create an opportunity for the two of them to strike while the iron was hot. Throughout the meal, Mu Qiqi kept pouring wine into Sheng Bowen's mouth. However, he was so happy that he was willing to drink. In the end, he directly collapsed on the table, shocking the three of them. Third brother's alcohol tolerance is at its limit. Mu Qiqi looked at Sheng Zhao. She had been tricking Sheng Bowen the whole time. She did not drink a single drop of wine. All she drank was grape juice. Then Miss Mu, please call Madam and ask her to come and pick up the CEO. Send him back, Mu Qiqi said directly. Chapter 660. There's nothing to misunderstand. He's already divorced. Mu Qiqi gave this answer when everyone was about to go home, especially when Sheng Bowen was already drunk. If he were sober, this would be so awkward. Ren Yufei was stunned. She obviously couldn't believe it. She must have many questions in her heart. She also understood that Mu Qiqi was doing this to create an opportunity for her. It was very likely that she already knew what she was thinking. However, the more this was the case, the more she didn't want to be the one who took advantage of the situation. Even though she had been sent to seduce Sheng Bowen, take good care of him. We'll be leaving first. Ren Yufei did not reject Mu Qiqi's good intentions, but she did not want to leave an image of a scheming woman in front of Sheng Bowen. Therefore, she gave the waiter a tip and the Sheng family's address, and asked the waiter to send Sheng Bowen back safely. After returning to the banyan courtyard, Mu Qiqi placed her body in the warm bathtub. She thought to herself that the human heart was really subtle. Soon, Sheng Xiao entered the bathroom. He took off his black nightgown and followed her into the bathtub. Then he held Mu Qiqi in his arms. What are you thinking about? I'm thinking about Secretary Run. I wonder if she sent third brother home. If it were me, I would definitely have selfish motives. Thinking about how hard it was to have a crush on you back then. If I were given such a chance, I would definitely bring you back to my house and take a good look at you. Sheng Xiao closed his eyes and did not look at her at all. He only said slowly, she asked the waiter to send third brother home. Mu Qiqi. Such a good opportunity had been wasted just like that. However, while Mu Qiqi was clicking her tongue, she also sighed from the bottom of her heart. Actually, Sheng Kai had chosen a very decent person to be his spy. Don't do this kind of thing again. I don't like it. Mu Chichi was still in a daze when she heard that. She turned her head to look at him. All right, I won't do it anymore. I'll just keep my eyes on you. I won't look anywhere else, okay? Sheng Xiao did not say anything. His right hand gently stroked Mu Chichi's head, making her feel sleepy. Mu Chichi yawned and fell asleep on the man's chest in the bathtub. Anyway, when she woke up the next day, she would definitely be in bed. Late at night, when everyone was sleeping soundly, the employee of Huang Yao who was being chased by the police had been brought back to the police station in Jianchuan and would be interrogated overnight. Why would a girl, a dignified customer service representative, take the risk out of desperation and commit a crime? The girl did not panic. After she was arrested, she remained silent. She only made one request to the police. She wanted to see her family, because as long as her brother was saved, it meant that the person had kept his word, and she would not expose him. Also, did Sheng Bowen think that this matter was over? In fact, this was just the beginning of Sheng Kai's revenge. After all, it was old Sheng's birthday in March. As his grandson, he should learn from eighth brother and send him a birthday gift. The next day, Sheng Bowen woke up from his big bed at home. When he thought about how he was forced to drink by Xiao Qi, and how he had embarrassed himself in front of Secretary Run, he suddenly felt his ears burning and couldn't help but blush. He didn't know who sent him back, but after he got drunk, he fell asleep. During breakfast, old Master Sheng looked at Sheng Bowen with a strange gaze. I heard from eighth brother that you brought your secretary to dinner last night? Chi-Chi asked me to bring her, Sheng Bowen explained. However, from the old man's point of view, it was only because the little girl had seen through something that she would let the secretary attend a private dinner. Wasn't that obvious enough? If the secretary's family background is clean, bring her back to take a look. I'm very relieved to be able to take care of you in your career in life. Sheng Bowen finally understood why Mu Chichi had to drag Secretary Ren out last night. It turned out that she had such a plan. Grandpa, I just treat her as a secretary. Don't think too much. Alright, I was just saying. You should go to work. Old Master Sheng could see how slow Sheng Bowen was in this aspect. It was no wonder that there were no sparks when he lived with Hu Ran. He had never thought about what it would be like to hug a woman and be intimate with her. Sheng Bowen was very helpless, especially when the other members of the Sheng family looked at him, as if he was having an affair with his secretary. Eighth brother is such a blabbermouth. Do you really have to explain everything in detail to the old man? Therefore, on the way to work, Sheng Bowen called Sheng Xiao. Eighth brother, since when did you and Grandpa have such a good relationship that you can gossip about me? My woman is worried about your marriage. What do you think? In other words, Sheng Xiao felt that he was in the way. You are really black-bellied and sinister as always. Sheng Bowen hung up the phone and went to Huang Yao. When he saw Ren Yufei, he should have been embarrassed. However, Ren Yufei pretended that nothing had happened. She just pointed at the conference room and said, "The police are here." In that case, the person had been brought back. Coincidentally, he also wanted to know why there were still people who would repay kindness with enmity. Huang Yao had never treated its employees badly, especially after he took office. In the morning it was rainy. A large group of people from the Yi family had come, all for the sake of making Mu Tongxue dazzling at the engagement ceremony. What happened in Huang Yao this time had made Mu Chichi shine again, so Yi Jingqing had to spend more energy and money on Mu Tongxue. He wanted to let the world know that Mu Tongxue was the noble goddess, and Mu Chichi could never be seen in public. Mama Yi sat in the living room with a gloomy face. After she was slapped by Yi Jingqing, she knew that Mu Tongxue was not as simple as she thought, so she could not act rashly. Mu Tongxue knew that she was holding back, so she was always stepping on Mama Ye's bottom line, especially when there was no one in the living room. She deliberately put on the pigeon egg Yi Jingqing bought for her and showed it off in front of Mama Yi. I knew it. Brother Jingqing really loves me. I said I wanted this diamond, and he did everything he could to get it for me. Auntie, I really want to thank you for saving me from the slums. Don't be too happy. Mama Yi snorted. You should know that it's easy to get karma when one is too happy. I think this sentence is more suitable for your entire family. After that, Mu Tongxue smiled. I'm going to ask Brother Jingqing for his shares tonight. Auntie, aren't you going to stop me? Chapter 661. You've touched my things, but you've never asked me. Mu Tongxue sneered. She raised the pigeon egg between her fingers and admired it for a while before returning to her room. Why would she care about this now? She just wanted to make this family suffer. Yi Jingqing would never let her go, and she would never let him go either. So, evil people should torture each other like this. Mama Yi saw Mu Tongshua's smug expression. She could not wait to tear Mu Tongshua's mouth apart. But she knew it was exactly what Mu Tongxue wanted. She was not that stupid. However, she would never agree to let such a jinx marry into the family. Even if her son was not on her side, she still had her husband. A grand engagement ceremony? That would depend on whether it could be held smoothly. Wasn't Mu Qiqi, the little bitch's elder sister, at loggerheads with her? She did not know if Mu Qiqi was willing to help her deal with this little bitch. After the incident at Huangyao, Mu Qiqi could finally return to the forensics laboratory. But when she returned to the police station, she found that everyone was out on duty. There was another murder case. Mu Qiqi took out her phone and called Feng Shanshan. She thought it was fine this time. After all, she had rested for a few days. Where are you? Why didn't you tell me about the case? In a building in the city, Feng Shanshan said while vomiting. It's so disgusting. Give me the address. I'll come over now. I think you're the only one who can be as steady as a mountain and help the professor. After saying that, Feng Shanshan gave him the address. Mu Qiqi received the address and rushed to the crime scene. However, the scene was too spectacular. Now, only Tang Yan and the professor's expressions did not change. Of course, after Mu Qiqi came, there would be another Mu Qiqi. Mu Qiqi arrived at the scene in 20 minutes. But when she was downstairs, she could already smell the stench of a corpse. The police saw Mu Qiqi entering the cordon and quickly stopped her. Mu Qiqi quickly took out her ID, but the police recognized her. You are Mu Qiqi. Go in. Was she already so famous? Mu Qiqi shook her head and went straight to the 6th floor. She saw a group of people covering their noses at the door, and there were several lumps of filth at their feet. It seemed to be a big case. Xiaoqi, you're finally here. When the group of senior brothers saw her, they quickly made way and said, Shanshan has been vomiting inside, so we can only vomit along with her. Hurry up and help the professor. Mu Qiqi was pushed through the door and was left dumbfounded in the huge living room. There were actually 4 corpses lying on the ground. The giant phenomenon was obvious, and 2 of the corpses had internal organs scattered on the ground, mixed with some green. It looked colorful and spectacular. No wonder this group of people vomited so exaggeratedly. He looked at Mu Qiqi again. She was really calm. Feng Shanshan quickly grabbed her and said, Hurry up and help. I can't stay here any longer. Mu Qiqi took over Feng Shanshan's work, and then Feng Shanshan went to Tang Yan. I'll help you. The deceased is a male, between 18 to 20 years old, and between 1.6 to 1.65 meters tall. The time of death is estimated to be about 15 days ago. There are no obvious injuries on the body, and according to the secretions in the nasal cavity and mouth, the cause of death is poisoning. As for the specific type of poison, we need to go through detailed tests and further dissection. This one should be a disembowelment, and the murder weapon is a very sharp dagger. It directly pierced the victim's abdomen from the left side, and then left a wound that is about 15 centimeters long on the right side. The process of examining the corpses this time was extremely difficult, because each of the 4 people died in a different way. Even though they looked so young, the 6 forensic doctors spent almost an hour sorting out the things at the first scene. At the door, the police were questioning the informant. Officer, I am the landlord of this house, and I rented it to one of the children. But he is already 18 years old, and he is working outside to earn his living expenses. This child looks quite honest. He has been living here for more than a year, and there is nothing wrong with him. He pays the rent every 3 months. This time, it's because I received a complaint from the neighbors. They said that there are always some strange insects climbing in front of my house. And the house is getting more and more smelly. I had no choice but to get someone to unlock the door. But I didn't expect to see such a scene. Officer, don't you think I'm wronged? Who would dare to rent this place in the future? Muchichi and the others were helpless when they heard the landlord's words. After all, he was really innocent. After the forensic doctors finished their work, they returned to the police station. Because it was a major case, the police in the district felt that they could not solve the case within a time limit. So they went to the criminal investigation team and asked to take over. Tang Yin, of course, did not say anything. After all, as long as it was a case, he did not care about whether it was serious or not. The group of people rushed back to the police station. There were 4 dead bodies. This time, it was really enough to make the forensic doctors busy. But at this time, Mama Yi actually came to the police station. Chi-Chi, someone is looking for you. Mu Chi-Chi had just placed the bodies on the dissection table with the professor. When she was about to start working, she heard that someone was looking for her. She immediately took off her gloves and sterile clothes and went to the hall of the police station. Who is it? That lady. Mu Chi-Chi looked in the direction where her senior was pointing and saw Mama Yi with a face full of disdain. That's true. A lady from a wealthy family would definitely get lice if she lowered herself to this kind of place. Madam Yi, are you looking for me? When Mama Yi saw Mu Chi-Chi approaching, she quickly covered her nose. You have a very strong smell. I'm dissecting. Of course I smell. Madam Yi came to me without telling me. I don't have time to take a shower and change my clothes. Mu Chi-Chi said coldly, and put her hands in her clothes. Do you want to tell me? Mama Yi was also convinced by this pair of sisters. The elder sister did not want to be a rich lady, but had to do this dirty, smelly, and dirty job that dealt with corpses. What about the younger sister? She had the heart of a snake and a scorpion. Every day, she would bewitch other people's sons to achieve her own goals. They were really a pair of weirdos. Mu Chi-Chi knew that Mama Ye's visit would not be a good thing. The biggest possibility was that Mu Tongxue and Yi Jingqing were going to hold their engagement ceremony a few days later. It was useless to oppose Mu Tongxue, so they wanted her, Mu Tongxue's enemy, to join them. However, these people probably thought that it was easier to find the police station and meet her. She really needed to greet her seniors in the future. Chapter 662. Mama Yi took out a tissue in disgust and covered her mouth. Then, she took a few steps away from Mu Chi-Chi and said, I know you don't get along with your sister. She has caused you so much trouble. You should want her to live a life worse than death. Now this little bitch is getting engaged to my son. She might live a better life than you in the future. Are you really convinced? I came here today to ask if you are willing to work with me to get your sister out of the country. Let her leave our sight, and never disgust us again. Mu Chi-Chi looked up at Mama Yi seriously. You used to be on good terms with the Mu family, and treated Mu Tongxue as your daughter-in-law. But your attitude towards her has changed so much in such a short time. Whatever you say, I just want her to get out of my sight. Far away. It's best if she dies a horrible death. Recalling Mama Ye's love for Mu Tongxue, and the adjectives she used on Mu Tongxue today, Mu Chi-Chi thought that this world was really realistic and ironic. First of all, she can't be more famous than me. Because the Yi family is just a small family. You can barely make it into the top 100 in Jianchuan. Just because you have the right to talk to me, doesn't mean that we are on the same level. Secondly, Mu Tongxue and the Yi family love to kill each other. Why should I interfere? I can't wait for her to turn the Yi family upside down. Madam Yi, don't forget how your son treated me when I was young. Lastly, don't come to the police station next time. This is a place to punish evil, not a vegetable market. I'm not someone you can see whenever you want. Don't you know who I am? Alright, I still have work to do. You can do as you please, Madam Yi. Having said that, Mu Chi-Chi immediately turned around. She was really tired of wasting time on these irrelevant people. No, it was not irrelevant. It was disgusting. You and your sister will die a horrible death sooner or later. This is my curse to you too. When Mama Yi left, she shouted at Mu Qiqi's figure. Many policemen in the hall heard it, and all agreed that Mama Yi was very vicious. I really don't understand the world of these rich people. However, no matter what, I will stand on Xiaoqi's side, because our entire branch knows what kind of person Xiaoqi is. When Mu Qiqi passed by, she heard her seniors whispering to each other. She just smiled and said, "Then I really have to thank you." Yi Mu returned without success, completely beyond her expectation. There was no doubt that Mu Qiqi hated Mu Tongxue, but why wouldn't she cooperate with her? It was clearly the best time to deal with Mu Tongxue. Even so, even if there was a deep grudge between Mu Qiqi and Mu Tongxue, she wouldn't help an outsider against her own sister, would she? Especially since the Yi family was not innocent. Soon, Mu Qiqi returned to the lab. Meanwhile, the others were busy examining the corpse. Of the 4 victims, 1 died of potassium cyanide poisoning, 1 was stabbed to death, 1 was electrocuted to death, and the last one was hacked to death. The 4 of them died in different ways, and according to the current state and characteristics of the corpses, the conclusion is that the 4 of them died at almost the same time. You've all been inside the crime scene. What do you think now? The professor asked the others. Mu Qiqi thought about it and answered. For people dying at the same time sounds like a vicious murder case, but that's not actually the case. For people died in 4 different ways at the same time, and that alone doesn't fit the characteristics of homicide. Isn't it too complicated if there was only one murderer? Moreover, how could one murderer kill the victims in 4 different ways at the same time? Let's assume that there were 2 or more murderers, but there were no traces of anyone else in the house. There were no extra footprints, clothing fibers, or fingerprints, let alone signs of a struggle. How could such a huge case with so many people be cleaned up so cleanly? Most importantly, the murder weapons were all at the crime scene. That's why I have a bold hypothesis that you all already know. These 4 people either committed suicide at the same time, or killed each other. According to the distribution of the corpses, the one who was stabbed to death, and the one who was hacked to death, should have been facing each other before they died. As for the other 2, one was lying on the sofa, poisoned by potassium cyanide, while the other was electrocuted and sitting on the floor. They must have planned this beforehand. Group suicide. The professor nodded. You're right. The DNA on the murder weapons has been tested. We'll get the answer soon if it's as you guessed. What we need to do now is to confirm the source of the corpses. Why would 17 or 18-year-old kids commit suicide together? Of course, the rest was up to Tang Yan. So Tang Yan took off his gloves and left the autopsy room. Feng Shanshan could not help but sigh. They're at such a good age, but they chose such an extreme way to end their lives. What kind of things did they go through to give them the courage to die? Who knows? Nowadays, young people's psychological endurance and ability to resist pressure are really far inferior to their predecessors. No matter what, if you have something unhappy in your heart, you must release it in time, especially you Shanshan. I remember that you and Tang Yan are neighbors. If you have anything that you can't get over, remember to look for Tang Yan. That kid is also good at psychological counseling. Feng Shanshan was stunned. She could not help but snort coldly in her heart. I'm afraid you don't know your nephew at all. Alright, that's all for now. Hurry up and change. Then, Mu Qiqi and Feng Shanshan went to the changing room. At this time, Mu Qiqi smiled at Feng Shanshan. Haven't you told anyone about you and Captain Tang? With his personality, he's always on the front line. Even 10 bulls can't hold him back. What's the point of telling others? Feng Shanshan asked. I wouldn't be surprised if he suddenly disappears one day. What can I do? I can only smile at life. You're not sad? Don't forget about Dai Shi, who didn't even sleep for Captain Tang. Don't mention it. I'm still angry. Chapter 663. Why did the man from the Yi family look for you? He asked me to talk to Mu Tongxue. Feng Shanshan looked at Mu Qiqi and shook her head. These rich families are really strange. The Sheng family is like that, and so is the Yi family. Are these people unable to live the life of the rich? They have nothing to do every day, and they don't contribute anything to society. And they're always looking for trouble. If you ask me, who should I ask? Mu Qiqi rolled her eyes. I don't care about the matter between the Yi family and Mu Tongxue. To put it bluntly, it's just a dog-eat-dog plot. But I'm going to Mu Tongshue's engagement next week. Since there's a good show, of course I'm willing to go. Feng Shanshan thought that sometimes, being born into a rich family was not as good as being like her. She had some spare money and was free. It was really boring to plot against each other every day. Soon, the field personnel screened the identities of the deceased and found that they had one thing in common. Their family conditions were very poor. However, they came from different places, and their family backgrounds were not exactly the same. There must be a reason why these 4 people from different places gathered together. Now, everyone's mission is to investigate the detailed information of these 4 people, from their family background to their social connections, as well as their interpersonal relationships. Everything must be clear. Of course, after Tang Yin assigned the task, he also walked to the entrance of the branch office. However, when he turned around and saw Feng Shanshan, he turned back and walked to her. Wait for me at the station tonight. Let's have dinner together. I'm very tired. I want to go home and rest. It's the professor's birthday today. After saying this, Tang Yin left quickly. However, Feng Shanshan, who was left behind, was confused. Did he mean that he wanted to bring her to dinner because it was the professor's birthday? Was that what he meant? His parents were not around, so the professor was his only family now. Since he wanted to bring her to dinner, did that mean that she was meeting his parents? But why should she meet his parents? Should she meet him just because he said so? In fact, Tang Yin was outside the autopsy room just now. He heard the conversation between the 2 girls, especially Feng Shanshan's words. If he suddenly disappears one day, I won't be surprised at all. He knew that he couldn't give people a sense of security, and he also knew that Feng Shanshan's elegance was all an act. However, he would not simply disappear. At least, after meeting Feng Shanshan, he cherished his life more than before. Mu Qiqi saw Feng Shanshan standing awkwardly at the door of the laboratory and leaned on her shoulder. Since he's taking you to meet his parents, it means that Captain Tang is very serious about you. What are you still worried about? I just feel that it's too sudden. This doesn't match Tang Yan's style of doing things. It makes me very uneasy. Most importantly, although the 2 of them slept together, she did not know Tang Yin at all. Everything she knew about him came from piecing together all sorts of information, especially from the professor. She didn't even know him, but she wanted to meet his parents? She couldn't do it. Looking at you, you don't seem too willing? Feng Shanshan didn't say anything. She was really unwilling. At least, before Tang Yin told her about the past, she didn't want to be fixed. Therefore, when Tang Yin returned to the police station in the evening, he did not see Feng Shanshan. What are you looking for? The professor saw his outstanding expression and quickly asked, Where's Feng Shanshan? This girl is tired. She went home, the professor said. According to the usual practice, shouldn't you have dinner with me tonight? I want to have dinner with you. But now, there's one less person. Let's go to my house. I know Aunt is still abroad and can't accompany you for your birthday. Okay, wait for me to change. Actually, the professor really wanted to persuade Tang Yin to move out of this graveyard, because he didn't want his ex-girlfriend's matter to affect Tang Yan's life. However, when the off-road vehicle arrived at the entrance of the courtyard, the professor was surprised. Your place? My place has been sealed now. It's just a studio now, but I rarely go in. Then where do you live? Tang Yin pointed at the light next door. There was a garden in the courtyard, and there were reclining chairs on the lawn. The professor followed behind Tang Yin in confusion. He took out the key and opened the door. Then, everyone was stunned at the same time. In the living room, Feng Shanshan was sitting on the sofa eating snacks. In fact, her brain was still stuck. You guys, we're living together, Tang Yin explained to the professor. Then he turned to Feng Shanshan and said, Shanshan, make some tea. Feng Shanshan was stunned for a moment and quickly gave up her seat. She didn't expect Tang Yan to bring the professor to his house when she ran away from the police station. Speaking of which, she was really angry. Did she agree to it? When did this happen? The professor still couldn't suppress his surprised expression. It's been a while. I just didn't tell you, Tang Yan said directly. No wonder she was so nervous when you were injured. She wanted to help you teach Dai Shi a lesson when you were sent to the front line. The professor suddenly understood. You two kids usually don't say anything. Since you're together, then so be it. Why can't you talk about it? This is a good thing. It's not convenient in the police station. We still have to do business. Feng Shanshan listened to their conversation. She made some tea in the kitchen and brought it to them. Well, I know it's the professor's birthday today. Sit down first. I'll make a few dishes. You can talk while you eat. I didn't know that you're good at cooking, little girl. The professor laughed. I just know some home-cooked dishes. Feng Shanshan quickly left after saying that. Since you're already with the little girl, you should let go of the things that happened in the past. You don't have to work so hard in everything. If you get hurt like last time, who would be able to bear it? This little girl is also alone. She has no one to rely on. Don't let her worry about you every day when she just got a lover. Uncle, I'm going to get married, Tang Yan suddenly said. The professor was stunned because Tang Yan had had girlfriends before. The last one was even unforgettable. However, he had never told him so formally that he had plans to get married. When? When she's of age. It looks like you're tempted. That's good. The professor thought about it, and his eyes turned red. If your father was still alive, he would be so happy to know that you're finally getting married. Chapter 664. If you really have the determination to protect her, don't be like before, risking your life for the sake of investigating cases. Make more friends and don't be so lonely. With your ability, if it weren't for your quiet personality, you wouldn't have been a mere captain a long time ago, and you wouldn't be a third-level superintendent. Tang Yan, remember, protecting the country is a responsibility, and protecting the family is also a responsibility. If you can't even protect your wife, how can the people of the country put their lives in your hands? Think about it yourself. While Feng Shanshan was cooking, the uncle and nephew chatted in the living room. Soon, Feng Shanshan brought the food to the table. They're all very home-cooked dishes. Don't mind them, Professor. I'm lucky to be able to eat the dishes cooked by my niece-in-law. I thought I would never see this kid have a girlfriend again in my life. The professor picked up his chopsticks happily and tasted every dish. Feng Shanshan looked at Tang Yan and did not say anything. After the professor left, she would settle the score. Looks like I'll have to come here more often in the future. The professor ate very happily. He stayed in Feng Shanshan and Tang Yan's house until late at night before leaving in satisfaction. This was probably the happiest birthday he had in recent years, because he finally had an answer to Tang Yan's father. However, the moment the professor left, Feng Shanshan started to make things difficult for Tang Yan. Did you get my permission to bring the professor back just like that? I thought you would be very happy with our relationship. Feng Shanshan crossed her arms and turned to look at Tang Yan. Which eye of yours sees that I'm happy? Tang Yan did not say anything. He turned around and was about to return to the bedroom. However, Feng Shanshan felt a sense of guilt, as if she had bullied her little wife. So she stopped Tang Yan. When are you going to tell me about your past? I don't mind that you have countless girlfriends. I just want to know what you've been through in the past. I don't want to be forced to accept it when things happen. Tang Yan, you're willing to let me see the professor, but you're not willing to tell me about your past. Tang Yan looked up and stared into Feng Shanshan's eyes. He sighed. Sit down. When Feng Shanshan heard that Tang Yan seemed to have compromised, she quickly went around to the sofa and sat down. Let me say this first. If you feel uncomfortable after listening to me, you can't break up with me. Tang Yan also sat on the sofa. He placed his hands on his thighs and interlaced his fingers. I've been living alone since I was 10, so I became very antisocial and liked to get into fights. When I was 15 or 16, I got into a fight outside and was sent to the juvenile detention center. I was locked up for 8 months. It was also in the juvenile detention center that I became enemies with a very famous gangster. He swore that once he got out, he would kill me for revenge. So as soon as I left the juvenile detention center, my uncle forced me to go to the police academy because it was safer there. I got into the police academy, but I still couldn't control my temper. I got into a fight with a colleague and got a major demerit. I was almost fired. It was the gangster who threatened me who changed my life. He stabbed me, and I was hospitalized for 3 months. From then on, I kept my temper in check. Because I was good in all aspects, I was chosen to be an undercover agent. It was a drug gang, and it was a gang with a lot of gunpowder. I spent a year to gain the trust of the boss, and followed him as his second in command. Later, I released important information and cooperated with my colleagues in the police force. Finally, we destroyed the gang, but my identity was also leaked. In the first few years, my enemies were hunting me. I hid everywhere and often went to the front line to help with some important cases. It was only when my enemies were caught one after another that I finally had peace. But perhaps it's because I'm used to this uniform, this job, and I've seen the great good and the great evil in the world. That's why I'm on the front lines. Because I've seen the various methods of those criminals. I think that people like me are born to deal with those vicious people. Because I feel that I'm actually the same kind of person as them. Women, I don't avoid my casual side at all. Since I was a teenager, I have never stopped being with them. But I don't play games with relationships, so most of the time, I end on good terms. What about the previous one? Feng Shanshan felt that she did not mind that Tang Yan had never stopped being with her. But she cared about his previous one. Because in her subconscious, she felt that this previous one was the person who had the greatest influence on Tang Yan. Especially after the previous one passed away. He did not look for a woman for 2 to 3 years. The previous one was a university student who did research. She said that she liked the male hormones I exuded, so she chased after me for 8 months. I agreed, but I did not have extra time to accompany her. So she complained more and became more and more dissatisfied. We did not spend a long time together. The real time we spent together was less than a month. Because I always disappeared for a few days, she could not stand it anymore, and had an affair with another man. After I found out, we broke up peacefully. But later she came back to find me. Because she was seriously ill. I kept her by my side to fulfill my duty. In the end, I sent her away and found a grave to erect a tombstone for her. After that I met you. Is she a special existence to you? Tang Yan shook his head. She's the same as before. There's no difference. Then why was there 2 years between you? Or should I say, am I also one of them? Feng Shanshan, when you've been locked in a small dark room for a month, thrown into the mountains for 3 months without any help, and fought with drug dealers every day, you'll know that as a spy, your heart must be hardened. I admit that perhaps the way I look at women is no different from how I look at other things. Because I feel that only life is precious in this world. But you jumped out of the stereotype of a woman, and injected a few drops of fresh blood into my already dead heart. After hearing this, Feng Shanshan was very touched. She moved her throat. Mu Qiqi is also very special. But I am not interested in other people's things. Most importantly, I see the shadow of my past in you. Chapter 665. In fact, Feng Shanshan's feelings were really complicated. She also understood why Tang Yan was so quiet and taciturn. It was because he had seen through all the truth and hypocrisy in this world. He had experienced pain and torture that others could not feel. How could such a person be affected by the little things in life? To him, solving cases was the only value in living. But it was also because of this that Feng Shanshan was extremely obsessed with him. This man was a hero in her heart. She had an indescribable sense of worship for him, although she had never said it out loud. However, Tang Yin had already shown her his past. What about herself? Should she continue to hide the fact that she had hid a child for that scumbag? I've already gotten the answer I want. Why should I stop? Feng Shanshan asked Tang Yin in return. It wasn't easy for me to find a man that I'm crazy about. Why should I let go? It's just that there are some things that I want to tell you in advance. After all, I don't want those things to be dug out in the future and stabbed into each other's hearts. If you mind, then I don't mind, Tang Yin answered directly. Do you know what I'm going to say? I know. Tang Yin summarized it with 3 words and placed his gaze on Feng Shanshan's abdomen. His meaning was self-evident. Feng Shanshan was stunned. She did not expect him to even know this. Do you really not mind, or are you pretending? Do you still want to talk about it in the future? After hearing Feng Shanshan's words, Tang Yi took off his shirt and revealed the scars on his body. Do you think I care about my body that much? Feng Shanshan did not say anything. After a long while, she smiled and said, Then let's get along like this. I don't ask for a romantic life. I just want you to be alive. I don't need you to take care of me. I just want you to be by my side. You do your job as a criminal police officer, and I'll do my job as a forensic doctor. There's only one thing. If we can have a child in the future, I hope that you can be by my side when I give birth. Do you understand? Tang Yin did not just understand. Long-term training had made his hearing very good. However, if he used words to answer at this moment, it would seem a little too shallow. So, Tang Yin carried Feng Shanshan from the sofa and walked quickly to the bedroom. Once he made up his mind, he would not change it. Even if he died, he would not let go. The next day, the mass suicide of the 4 youths attracted a lot of attention from the outside world, and all kinds of discussions followed. Some said that they had been brainwashed, some said that they had encountered evil spirits, and there were all kinds of rumors in the streets. The police were currently conducting an investigation, but the chief requested that the case be closed as a suicide as soon as possible. After all, they could not make the public panic. Since it wasn't a homicide, there was no need for the Special Investigation Unit to take action. The police in the district could handle it. Tang Yin was ordered to hand over the case, and he had to obey the order. So the case was soon taken over by someone. The people in the police station instantly became idle. Although everyone wanted to know why these young people would make such an extreme choice, it was impossible for them to do so. He had never thought that there would be a follow-up to this matter. Soon, it was time for Mu Tongxue and Yi Jingqing's engagement. The rich circles were also talking about Mu Qiqi and Mu Tongxue. The sisters had been entangled for some time, but in the end, they had each married off to a rich family. Still, would Mu Qiqi attend Mu Tongshue's engagement ceremony? There was no doubt that Mu Qiqi would go. After all, she still wanted to watch the drama between Mu Tongxue and Yi Jingqing. The 2 of them had left such a huge shadow in her childhood. Now that it was a dog-eat-dog time, how could she not go and watch the drama? However, Mu Qiqi knew very well that the reason Mu Tongxue took such a dangerous step was to take revenge for Mr. Liu. But even if the news of her engagement was spread everywhere, Mr. Liu would not show any concern for her. That morning, Mu Qiqi got up to take care of herself. She saw the man behind her putting on his shirt. She immediately walked over and helped him tidy his shirt. Is Mr. Liu getting used to Zhongting? I think so, Sheng Xiao replied calmly. He is quite calm. He seems to be having a good time. Although you don't want to admit it, you are still feeling sorry for Mu Tongxue. Sheng Xiao lifted her chin and looked into her eyes. Even if Mu Tongxue is so hateful and deserves to die, if it's someone else, I will be the same even if it's not Mu Tongxue, said Mu Qiqi. Can you come home early in the morning and pick me up? Since you are going to watch the drama, you should go to the wedding earlier. 10 o'clock sharp. Sheng Xiao pinched the bridge of Mu Qiqi's nose and walked out of their bedroom. Mu Qiqi watched Sheng Xiao leave. She hoped that the drama today would be more exciting than the investigation. Otherwise, it would be a waste of her precious time. It was 9 o'clock in the morning. The guests of the Yi family had started to appear on the lawn of Xingye Hotel. After all, it was the engagement day of young Master Yi and Mu Tongxue. But Yi Jingqing's parents did not come out to welcome the guests. They were still sulking at home. Yi Jingqing was wearing a blue suit. When he went downstairs, he looked at his parents. "Dad, Mom, it's my engagement today. Can you give me some face?" Mama Yi snorted. Papa Yi did not want to go out and embarrass himself. He waved his hand. "You go alone. We won't go." "How can I not go?" Yi Jingqing's voice had a hint of danger. "If you don't go, I will mess around with Yi Holdings. How dare you?" "I've given all my shares to Mutangxue. What do you think I won't dare to do?" Yi Jingqing's parents were threatened by their own son, but they could do nothing about it. They could only say, "You go first. We'll go and change our clothes. Hurry up." After that, Yi Jingqing went upstairs excitedly to fetch Mutangxue. Then they went downstairs together. But what about Mr. and Mrs. Yi? They were fuming. "Hubby, what should we do now? We have to think of a way. It will be too late if they get engaged." "Let me think," Papa Yi said. He paced back and forth in the living room anxiously. This unfilial son is not afraid of being kicked out of the board of directors. He doesn't care about us at all. I want to cut off our relationship as father and son. What about Mama Yi? She looked at the red wine bottle on the table. There was no hurry. There was still room for redemption. But to be honest, how many people would go to the engagement ceremony to give their blessings sincerely? Weren't they there to watch the drama or laugh at the joke? Chapter 666. Papa Yi and Mama Yi went to their son's engagement party in ordinary attire. Mama Yi was even dressed in a solemn black outfit. It was not an exaggeration to say that she was going to attend a funeral. There was not the slightest hint of joy on the faces of the two old men. Their faces were filled with unwillingness. How was this a wedding? It was clearly a funeral. Thinking about it, Yi Jingqing was really pitiful. In this engagement banquet, other than him, the other three people probably had their own thoughts in mind. But soon, the huge lawn of the hotel was filled with guests. What surprised Yi Jingqing even more was that Mu Qiqi and Sheng Xiao really came. Sheng Xiao was wearing a brown coat with a gray suit underneath. He still looked like a dignified CEO. Holding Mu Qiqi, who was also wearing a beige coat, they walked to Yi Jingqing. "I didn't expect Chief Sheng to come. It's really an honor for Yi Holdings." Zhongting was a military enterprise. The power behind it was mysterious and shocking. In the past year, Sheng Xiao had quickly built this huge kingdom in Jianchuan with the most ruthless methods. So it was indisputable that he was the youngest tycoon in Jianchuan. Yi Jingqing thought that Sheng Xiao was disdainful. At least, to Zhongting, Yi Holdings was just an egg that would break with a light touch. "My wife wants to watch the show. I have to satisfy her curiosity." Sheng Xiao's answer was quite wicked. There was a hint of mockery and danger in his eyes. Yi Jingqing chuckled and said calmly, "Chief Sheng, please. I will let you have a feast for your eyes later." Mu Qiqi held Sheng Xiao's arm and looked up at Yi Jingqing. At this moment, Yi Jingqing was beaming with joy. She wondered how Mu Tangxue would make him pay later. "Let's go." Sheng Xiao brought Mu Qiqi into the hotel. But Mu Qiqi thought of how he described her just now. "How did I become your wife? If you are not my wife, who is?" Sheng Xiao smiled. It was obvious that he was in a good mood. Mu Tangxue was dressing up in the bride's lounge upstairs. It was not her turn yet, so she let the makeup artist skillfully apply makeup on her face. She was going to be the most beautiful bride for Yi Jingqing later. In the past, she had imagined countless times in her mind that if she was lucky enough to marry Mr. Liu, she would look very beautiful in this white dress. But now, she was going to marry her enemy. "Miss Mu, raise your head a little. We're going to wear the crown. There's no need to go through all that trouble. This is fine," Mu Tangxue said flatly. The makeup artist looked at the accessory in her hand and finally nodded. "Okay, I'll put the crown away." Soon, a waiter brought warm water to the guests in the lounge and a glass for Mu Tangxue. Mu Tangxue looked at the colorless, odorless, transparent liquid, and her lips curled into a faint sneer. "You guys go out first. Let me calm down for a while." "All right, we'll come in and call you when the ceremony is about to begin." After they left, the lounge suddenly became quiet. Mu Tongxue sat in front of the mirror and suddenly felt that the person in the mirror was so strange that she almost couldn't recognize him. A good show was about to begin. Soon, the ceremony was about to begin. Yi Jingqing looked at his wristwatch and walked to the bride's lounge. But at this moment, Yi Jingqing suddenly heard moaning coming from the room. He frowned and opened the door to the lounge, only to find his bride Mu Tongxue making love on the bed with a waiter from the hotel. Mu Tongxue suddenly woke up. She grabbed the blanket and covered her body, but the red stain on the bed made Yi Jingqing's eyes turn scarlet. The waiter was probably frightened by Yi Jingqing's anger, so he hugged his clothes and crawled away. At this time, Yi Jingqing went forward and grabbed Mu Tongxue's wrist. "Did you do it on purpose? Must you stab me in the heart with a dull knife? I don't know anything. I was delirious just now. I became like this after drinking that glass of warm water." Mu Tongxue tried her best to explain. "I'm telling the truth." Yi Jingqing's eyes were red. He turned to look at the glass of warm water on the dresser. "I'll ask someone to come in and clean it up for you. No matter what, we have to get engaged first." Yi Jingqing didn't have time to think about her. He walked out of the lounge and asked the makeup artist and the others to go in again. Not only that, he walked to the lawn with a murderous look and dragged Mama Yi to a secret place. "Mother, I want to ask you a question. You must answer me truthfully. What now? Did you drug Mu Tongxue?" Yi Jingqing questioned Mama Yi fiercely. Mama Ye's face flashed with unnaturalness. Although she denied it, she couldn't hide it from Yi Jingqing. "You can't wait to put a green hat on your son's head, can't you? Are you crazy?" Mama Yi was stunned by his shout. She slapped him. "I don't agree to let that bitch in. I don't agree to it. Do you understand?" Unexpectedly, Yi Jingqing went crazy and pinched Mama Ye's neck. "Whether you agree or not, she is my woman. No one can change that. Let go. Let go. Murder. Murder." Yi Jingqing let go of her. At the same time, Mama Yi was very disappointed. So, the first thing she did after she stood still was to complain to her husband. When Papa Yi saw the strangulation mark on his wife's neck, he immediately walked up to the stage and shouted angrily, "Today's engagement ceremony is cancelled. The Yi family will never marry such a daughter-in-law." The guests looked at each other. Although they guessed that Mr. and Mrs. Yi would be unhappy, they didn't expect Papa Yi to be so direct. "Father, it's my engagement ceremony today. You can't cancel it just because you say so. We won't stop you if you insist on getting engaged." "But Yi Jingqing, let me tell you, I Yi Fengtao don't have a son like you anymore. I want to cut off our relationship as father and son." Yi Jingqing raised his chin. He was not afraid at all. This completely infuriated Mama Yi. "Shameless thing. I'll pretend that I've never given birth to an unfilial son like you. You can live with that bitch till your hair turns white." After that, Mr. and Mrs. Yi wanted to leave the engagement ceremony. This caused everyone to be unable to understand. Wasn't the Yi clan's actions a little too unsightly? However, at this moment, Mu Tongxue came out of the room in a wrinkled white dress. She looked disheveled. Her makeup was all ruined. Her neck and arms were covered with marks. It was too much to imagine. Chapter 667. Mama Yi did not expect Mu Tongxue to come out like this. She quickly said, "You bitch. Aren't you afraid of offending public decency by coming out like this? Isn't it all because of you?" Mu Tongxue splashed the cup of warm water on Mama Ye's face. "You really put in a lot of effort to stop me from marrying your son. You drugged me and gave me a man. Do you think I will let your son go just because I am ashamed? No. Your whole family tortured me like this. Where do you think you're going now? When I was young, your son tortured my sister and pushed her into the swimming pool. When I grew up, your son refused to marry anyone but me and kept me by his side. It's all your son's fault. Why do you have to take revenge on me?" Mu Tongxue screamed as if she had gone crazy. "Don't talk nonsense. Are you out of your mind?" Mu Tongxue walked to the center of the stage with her arms bare. Then she stood in front of Yi Jingqing. "In order to get me, You threatened me with Mr. Lu's life. I compromised. I'm willing to marry you. But why didn't you control your mother? Why did you let me suffer so much? Are the Yi family all devils? Yi Jingcheng, how can I marry you after your mother made me like this? I've already asked the people at the hotel. And they found out that your mother was the one who drugged me. I, Mu Tongxue, was humiliated 1,000 times in front of the Yi family. Tongxue, Yi Jingcheng's heart ached. I didn't know it would become like this. You don't know what you can't do to get me? Now the whole world knows that I had sex with another man before I got engaged to you. Are you going to keep wearing me like a broken shoe? Yi Jingcheng reached out his hand, but he felt ashamed to grab Mu Tongxue, because it was Mama Yi who did it. It was the person closest to him who did it. What I gave you is the drug that caused you to be in a coma. It's not a drug that makes you seduce men. You are debauched. What excuse do you find to slander me? At this moment, Yimu finally couldn't bear to roar out. That being said, it also confirmed that she had drugged Mu Tongxue. You admit that you drugged me. That's good. Mu Tongxue laughed miserably. Yi Jingcheng, even if you still have the face to ask me to marry you, I will never marry you again. Because your whole family is full of scum. Scum through and through. In the end, Yi Jingcheng reached out and grabbed Mu Tongxue, but she quickly dodged his hand. Get lost. A mother-in-law set up her daughter-in-law to sleep with someone else on the day of her engagement. If this gets out, your family will be the laughingstock for the rest of your life. Tongxue, I know. You still won't let me go, but it's fine. I know very well that you'll only let me go if I die in front of you, right? With that, Mu Tongxue crashed into the stone pillar of the ceremonial platform. The MC was shocked and quickly hugged Mu Tongxue. Don't do anything stupid. Mu Tongxue sat on the ground and cried, her heart breaking. When Yi Jingcheng saw Mu Tongxue breaking down like this, the last line of defense in his heart was finally broken. I don't want to marry you. I don't want to. Mu Qiqi stood below the stage. Her expression was very calm from the beginning to the end. She still thought that Mu Tongxue acted well, but she was not smart enough. Although this method humiliated the Yi family, it also hurt herself. Wasn't it not worth it to use her innocence to punish Yi Jingcheng? However, she seemed to understand Mu Tongshue's grievances. Her current actions showed that she had given up on herself. On the stage, Yi Jingcheng couldn't help but take 2 steps back. After such a long dream, he finally woke up. So he walked up to Mr. and Mrs. Yi and told them, "You won't have a son anymore. In this lifetime." Then, he left the hotel, abandoned everything behind him, and drove his sports car as fast as he could on the road. Although Mr. and Mrs. Yi hated Mu Tongxue, they felt that it was more important to pursue their son now. So, they ignored the guests and chased after her. The guests left one after another. At this time, Mu Qiqi walked up to Mu Tongxue, took off her beige coat, and put it on her. You did it on purpose. It's not over yet. Mu Tongxue looked at Mu Qiqi and smiled. Sister, do you know? We've been fighting for so long, but today is the happiest day for me. Because I did something that I wanted to do. Instead of following in your footsteps and being your shadow. Mama Yi is an idiot. She thought I didn't know what she was going to do. But she didn't expect that even if she didn't drug him today, I would still do it and slander her. Let me tell you a secret. Yi Jingcheng's car was tampered with. Even if he doesn't die today, when he realizes that it was all my plan, do you think he will feel like 1,000 arrows piercing his heart? This is the price he has to pay for touching Mr. Lu. At this moment, Mu Tongxue did not look like she was in pain. She only looked happy. She had sacrificed everything for Mr. Lu. Sister, arrest me. I should have gone in earlier to atone for Grandma and Mommy. If there's a next life, I will learn from you and be a good person. At least, when I fall in love with someone, I won't have to lie to hide my filth anymore. Mu Qiqi did not say anything. Giving her a coat was already the most benevolent thing she could do. As for whether Mu Tongxue was guilty or not, it was not within her jurisdiction as a forensic assistant. On the road in Jianchuan, a blue Lamborghini was speeding on the road. The traffic police tried to stop it, but it was too late. Yi Jingcheng hit the guardrail, and the car flipped over. When Mama Yi saw it, she fainted. But the miracle was that Yi Jingqing was not dead at all. He could not die. After all, he had to live to hear the truth. Mu Qiqi did not like such a bloody ending. At least, she did not need to pay for what she had suffered when she was young with a human life. After all, she knew how precious life was. It was good that Yi Jingqing was not dead. Just as Mu Tongxue said, she was looking forward to Yi Jingqing's expression when he found out about this. After what happened today, the Yi family would not have the face to stay in Jianchuan anymore. When Mu Qiqi saw this, she could not help but look back at her man. Xiao, give her a place to settle down. It's best to throw her in Zhongting's factory. She should never come out to see people or harm people again. Chapter 668. Yi Jingqing's left hand had a comminuted fracture, and his brain had a slight concussion. In addition, he had all sorts of external injuries. If he wanted to fully recover, he would have to stay in bed for at least a month. After the surgery, Yi Jingqing woke up from his coma. When he saw his parents standing at the head of the bed, his expression was unusually cold. Jingqing, my life. Mama Yi immediately rushed over and lay in front of Yi Jingqing. You're finally awake. Do you know that you scared Mom and Dad to death? Let's go. Yi Jingqing's voice was hoarse and dry as if he had been rubbing on sandpaper. Mama Yi was stunned for a moment. Then she said to Yi Jingqing, silly son. Do you know that all the plans today were planned by that woman? Mom did drug him, but it was a knockout drug. How could I let my son be so humiliated? Besides, the police have checked your car just now and found that there are stones under your brakes. Isn't this going to kill you? Jingqing, you have to believe me. Yi Jingqing didn't want to hear anything. He just wanted to sleep. So no matter how Mama Yi explained, he just closed his eyes. Mama Yi was helpless. In the end, she could only keep quiet and let Yi Jingqing rest. She would definitely find evidence of Mu Tongshua's cruelty. It was all because of that woman that the Yi family ended up like this. When Mu Tongxue woke up again, she was already in Zhongting's internal factory. It was a completely enclosed place. If you didn't go out first, no one could find you. I'm the person in charge of the factory. Miss Mu, you can call me Manager Gao. According to Madam's instructions, I've arranged a room and a position for you. If you're willing to stay here, your treatment will be similar to that of Zhongting's interns. Zhongting, Mu Tongxue murmured. It seems that I have no other place to go except here. Don't worry. It's absolutely safe here. No one can find you unless you're willing. I didn't expect that it would be my sister who gave me a way out in the end. As long as Mr. Lu lived well, and she didn't see Yi Jingqing, it would be heaven for her. After the engagement party, the whole Yi family was caught in a scandal. The news that Mama Yi drugged her daughter-in-law and caused her to be humiliated spread everywhere. Everyone was criticizing her. So her image as an evil mother-in-law must have been deeply rooted in people's hearts. The Yi family would not be shaken by this matter, but it would definitely be laughed at. Unfortunately, Father Yi and Mother Yi were such people who cared about their faces. Now, apart from staying in the hospital, the two of them refused to go anywhere. In fact, it was to avoid the gossip of the outside world. After Yi Jingqing woke up, he didn't talk to his parents at all. He didn't even blink. He was in a daze all day because he had a lot of questions in his mind. He just wanted to find a chance to run out of the hospital. Soon, Yimu left the ward to the bathroom, but when she came back, she saw that the person who should have been lying in bed had disappeared. Yi Jingqing went to the hotel and found the man who was having sex with Mu Tongxue in the room. Seeing that Yi Jingqing was covered in wounds, the man was frightened and quickly begged for mercy. Mr. Yi, I don't know anything. I didn't have sex with your wife. She just asked me to act. Yi Jingqing grabbed his collar and pushed him against the wall. If you dare to say a word, I will make you wish you were dead. It's true. Your wife is really good at acting. I really didn't touch her. Yi Jingqing couldn't use force, so he let go of the waiter's collar and leaned against the wall panting. Other than this, what else do you know? I think your wife really doesn't want to get engaged to you. She even asked another colleague of ours to buy some medicine for her. As you know, the hotel has that kind of service. They also have a special channel to get the special medicine. Get lost. Yi Jingqing understood what he meant. It was all a show that Mu Tongxue had written and directed. It turned out that his mother's explanation was true. Mu Tongxue didn't want to marry him from the beginning. She even embarrassed him so much and tampered with his car. Did she want him to die that badly? Mu Tongxue, how could you be so cruel? Did I make you feel so bad? Then, Mama Yi caught up with him and saw her son kneeling on the carpet. She quickly went to help him. Jingqing, get up. Get up. Get lost, all of you, Yi Jingqing said helplessly. Am I not good enough to her? I treat her with all my heart. But I didn't expect that someone would want to kill me. Jingqing, she's the bitch. It's not your fault. Yi Jingqing broke free from Mama Ye's grip and walked out of the hotel. Mu Tongxue, come out. Come out now. Yi Jingqing shouted on the street, completely ignoring the traffic. Don't you want me dead? I'll die in front of you now. Is this the only way to avenge your Mr. Liu? Bitch. After shouting, Yi Jingqing turned around and stopped in front of a big truck. Then he heard the brakes. Mama Yi, who was chasing after him, saw Yi Jingqing's body and flew out. Son Jingqing. Was there anything more exciting than this? No. Mu Tongxue would rather destroy her innocence than be with him. She had never seen him as a lowly person in her heart. She only loved Mr. Liu. At this moment, Yi Jingqing felt that there was no meaning in living anymore. He just wanted to end it all. He just wanted to sleep for a long time. Late at night, Mu Qiqi received the news that Yi Jingqing had committed suicide. Not only did he want to die, but he also wanted to harm other people's truck drivers. What did other people do wrong? Mu Qiqi had no pity for people like Yi Jingqing. He was a scumbag who did not deserve anyone's pity. But maybe he was lucky or something else, he did not die. But his limbs were broken. Even if he recovered, he would be disabled for life. Maybe it was because she saw the news on the news. Although the news was very subtle, it said that a man surnamed Yi committed suicide for love and endangered traffic safety. However, when she saw him a few days ago, he was still arrogant and haughty. So Feng Shanshan said to Tang Yan while drinking milk, Mu Qiqi's sister is really capable. Is this your attitude towards this matter? Tang Yan asked Feng Shanshan as he tidied up the coffee table. I know you respect life, but this scumbag really doesn't deserve any pity. Love can't be forced. It's fine if it was a normal woman, but she dared to mess with a drama queen. She deserved it. Tang Yan glanced at her and did not say anything. He just let her be. In fact, this matter, at the end of the day, was about the mutual affection between women. Chapter 669. Do you have something to say to me? Although Tang Yan could not get to Feng Shanshan's heart, he knew the general direction. When this person needed someone's help, he would definitely smile mischievously. Of course, he did not know that Feng Shanshan and Mu Qiqi were very similar in this aspect. Feng Shanshan lowered her head and drew circles on his muscular chest. Aren't you a boxing champion? You can fight and fight. Can you teach me some self-defense skills? I don't want to lose to Mu Qiqi. You can't learn these things in one go. It depends on years of hard work. Are you sure you can do it? If Mu Qiqi can do it, why can't I? Tang Yan looked at her for a while and finally said, Okay, I'll change the bedroom next door to let you practice martial arts. In the police station, you always pretend that you don't know me, and I don't get any special privileges. So I want you to teach me martial arts. That should be a special expression of mine in your heart, right? Yes. It was rare for Tang Yan to be so easy to talk to. Feng Shanshan was very satisfied. It was all thanks to their open talk. Feng Shanshan was a very easy person to satisfy. At least, her boyfriend had changed from a second-generation rich man to the captain of the criminal police force. It could be said that she was mentally prepared, right? That night, the one who had a complicated feeling was Mu Qiqi. Seeing Yi Jingqing in such a miserable state, she was of course happy. But at the same time, she felt a little uncomfortable. Because all these things happened to her sister. They were twins. Mu Tongxue was disheartened. It was normal for her to feel it. After Sheng Xiao finished his shower, he came out of the bathroom. Seeing the little one in a daze on the bed, he walked over and hugged her. I don't remember teaching you to be sentimental. Your wife is very emotional. She learned it without a teacher. You don't have many days left, right? Sheng Xiao suddenly reminded her. I really want to graduate early. Mu Qiqi was a little worried. Then, I can focus on solving cases and don't have to run between school and the police station every day. You're right. There are some things that can't be taught in school. Mu Qiqi looked up at Sheng Xiao in confusion. Then, Sheng Xiao leaned over seductively and moved the tip of his nose closer. For example, love. Bah! I remember third brother asking me if you have the final say in the family. He even used an idiom. Do you remember? Mu Qiqi lowered her head and thought for 2 seconds. Then her face turned red. Let's try it tonight. Up and down. That was not a problem. But Mu Qiqi was considering that her waist was not strong enough. The next day, Mu Qiqi was still sleeping when she heard her phone ringing. Having tormented the man for most of the night, Sheng Xiao picked up Mu Qiqi's phone and walked to the window to answer a call. Initially, he wanted to let her sleep a little longer, but it seemed that it was impossible now. In a high-end residential area in the city, there was another mass suicide incident last night. Hearing this, Mu Qiqi naturally opened her eyes and propped herself up. Clean up and have breakfast. I'll send you to the crime scene. Who still remembers the condition of young Master Yi, who was lying in a pool of blood yesterday? This page should be flipped over so decisively. Mu Qiqi believed that with Mu Tongshua's disappearance, Yi Jingqing would not do anything for the time being, because he could not afford to be hurt. Soon, Sheng Xiao sent Mu Qiqi to a high-end residential area in the city. This time, 4 people died again. But the way they committed suicide was slightly different from the previous ones. Because Tang Yan and the others had arrived earlier, they had a clear understanding of the case. When he saw the car that Sheng Xiao used to send Mu Qiqi to work, he put down his white gloves and walked over. I haven't officially greeted you, Tang Yan. Sheng Xiao looked at Tang Yan from the driver's seat and extended his hand. I've heard a lot about you. If you have time, we can have a good chat. After all, there are employees of Zhongting among the people who died today. Sheng Xiao's eyes instantly looked up, his deep eyes flashing with a dangerous glint. If you need Zhongting's help in the investigation, just let me know. Just one thing. Please take care of my people, Captain Tang. Who can compete with your influence in Jianchuan, Chief Sheng? Tang Yan's words sounded a little sarcastic, but Sheng Xiao did not mind it. No one can compete with me, but the employees are still dead. If you have any questions, look for my secretary. Zhongting will assist in the investigation. After saying this, Sheng Xiao glanced at Mu Qiqi. That heartless little thing actually did not look back at all. Then, Sheng Xiao reversed the car and left the high-end residential area where the crime happened. Tang Yan's eyes told Sheng Xiao that there was a story behind him. Sheng Xiao knew that this person was someone important. If he really wanted to ensure the little thing's safety, he had to maintain a good relationship with this person. At this moment, Mu Qiqi felt a headache at the crime scene. She really did not expect that there would be employees of Zhongting among them. If this matter were to spread, it would definitely cause rumors again. Previously, the other branch offices had closed the case as suicide and completely ignored the suspicions of Tang Yan and the others. Now that someone had died, they knew that the matter could not be hidden anymore. Someone needed to take the blame. So wasn't the blame still on the Special Investigations team? Just like last time, the 4 victims are all men between the ages of 18 to 20. They died almost at the same time. One of them had his throat cut, one took poison, and the other 2 were strangled to death, while the other was stabbed to death. From the results of the investigation at the scene, there are no traces of other people, so we rule out the possibility of others committing the crime. These children committed suicide again. They're so young. Why? By the way, One of the children has a very special identity. He just passed the probation period of Zhongting and became an official employee. As for the others, we'll have to investigate them thoroughly. Are we going to close the case as suicide this time? The professor raised his head and looked at Tang Yin. I'll report it now and apply to close the case. Tang Yin walked out of the crime scene with his phone in his hand. His tone was rather sarcastic. Mu Qiqi looked at these young children and felt a little uncomfortable. She really did not want Zhongting to be involved in this. This was a murder case. Previously, Chief Cha did not allow it. Now no one dares to take this hot potato. We're the only ones who can. If he had allowed it earlier, this case might have been solved quickly. Feng Shanshan felt wronged for her man. Mu Qiqi looked at her and did not say anything. Are you worried that Zhongting will not be involved? Mu Qiqi nodded, feeling a little uneasy. They're just employees of Zhongting. What can that prove? Besides, how do you think Xing Xiao uses his brain? He's not someone that those people can frame. Do you have no confidence in your man? Chapter 670. Which man doesn't hate evil? Feng Shanshan rolled her eyes at Mu Qiqi. Don't think too much. It's fine as long as we get to the bottom of it. Mu Qiqi nodded. Thinking that she was surrounded by capable people, she was not so worried anymore. Tang Yin actually went to apply to close the case. The chief looked at him for a while and rolled his eyes at him. You're deliberately mocking me for not letting you investigate before, right? Now there are 8 lives, and the higher-ups want us to solve the case within a time limit. I didn't think it through before. I'll try to give you a few more days. Do as you see fit. Then, the chief asked the police in the previous district to transfer the information of the 4 victims to the special investigations team of the branch, because they had to investigate the case together. Then, Tang Yin held a meeting in the police station to sort out the clues and connections. Within a month, there were 2 consecutive mass suicides. Now let's sort out the key points. They were all male, around 18 to 20 years old. Their family conditions were difficult. Due to various reasons, they all dropped out of school and worked outside. This is the similarity that can be found in these 8 people. Now let's talk about the current situation in your hands, Tang Yin said as he looked at everyone, especially at the information analyst. It's like this. I put the information of these 8 people on the internet for screening. Then, I found that these 8 people like to surf the internet. Other than sleeping at work, they basically surf in internet cafes. The information analyst said, if there must be a medium to gather the 8 people together and make them agree and reach a certain understanding, the only way is to surf the internet. The forensics department, 8 people. 4 of them killed each other, and the other 4 committed suicide. Their methods were crude, and they were indeed aiming for death. So there's nothing special about them. Of course, I've given a detailed description of all the murder weapons, including the bayonet, electric shock stick, and potassium cyanide. This should help you find the source of the murder weapons, the professor explained. Tang Yin nodded. It seemed that they really could not rely on the forensics department for this case. The only thing we can do is to find out if there are any similarities between these 8 corpses. Mu Qiqi, what do you think? Tang Yin looked at Mu Qiqi after hearing the professor's words. For people in a group, 2 people kill each other, and 2 people commit suicide. It seems to be some kind of fixed procedure. Don't you think this is some kind of ritual, or some kind of game? I think the key lies in what these 8 people read on the internet before they died. I think that if we do a cross-screening, we should be able to get some answers we want. Tang Yin nodded and looked at Feng Shanshan. What do you think? This man still knew to give her a chance to speak. I have a friend who likes to play online games. Whether it's domestic or overseas, he's very proficient. I'll go and ask him if this is something that's trending online recently. Here's the arrangement. The professor and the other forensic doctors will examine the body again to see if we missed any important information. Little Luo and Little Gao, go to the internet cafes that these 8 people frequent and ask around about the situation. Qiqi, you and Little Long will visit the families of the 8 victims and see if you can find anything. I remember that one of them is an employee of Zhongting. When you go to Zhongting, try to keep a low profile. Don't cause any trouble for the military industry in the country. After all, they are just employees of Zhongting. Feng Shanshan and I will go to the internet police for help and visit her friend. Although you are studying forensic science, you have enough brains. You can choose other things in the future. Let's go now. Tang Yan's words made Mu Qiqi and Feng Shanshan look at each other. It turned out that this man knew how to use his power for personal gain. He still knew how to get some benefits for himself. Soon the team split up. Still, Mu Qiqi was feeling rather conflicted. Contact me if there's any news, Feng Shanshan said to Mu Qiqi when she got into Tang Yan's car. Mu Qiqi nodded and got into another police car. You usually avoid going with me. What's wrong today? Feng Shanshan sat in the passenger seat and could not help but ask Tang Yan. I have a feeling that your friend might really be able to provide important clues, Tang Yan answered as he drove. However, the sun was too strong. He was too lazy to do it himself, so he said to Feng Shanshan, sunglasses. Feng Shanshan rolled her eyes and did not argue with him. Since they were outside, she would listen to him. On the other hand, Mu Qiqi gave Sheng Xiao a call. She was going to Zhongting for an interview later. She asked the relevant people to wait for her. Sheng Xiao hung up and smiled helplessly at the phone. She was indeed the little one he had raised. Now she even found out about him. Then he called the internal line and called the secretary in. Your madam is coming later. Wait for her. I know. Madam is coming to visit because of that employee. I've already asked the people below to arrange for the relevant people to wait. Don't worry, CEO. The secretary answered respectfully. I just don't know if she needs me to wait by her side when she comes later. Wait. Just wait. If she needs anything, just cooperate with her. Okay. The secretary seemed a little excited. Sheng Xiao saw it and was a little confused. The secretary quickly explained. Because I like Madam very much and I want to see her professional appearance. She's my idol. Sheng Xiao snorted. His secretary had become that little one's fan? Let's go. Because the light emitted from that little one's body was really eye-catching. Soon, Mu Qiqi brought the senior to Zhongting's building. When she entered the door, she did not need to report at all. She did not need to arrange anything. This made the senior a little embarrassed. Qiqi, Zhongting's management shouldn't be so lax, right? Senior, have you forgotten? I'm the boss's wife. Mu Qiqi smiled. As she said that, Sheng Zhao's secretary walked in front of Mu Qiqi. Madam, the HR manager and the child's superior are already waiting. Chapter 671. Soon, the secretary brought the two of them into the conference room, where the HR manager and another person in charge were already sitting. The two of them only knew that the police would come to question them, but they did not know that it was their wife. The HR manager immediately understood the identity of the person who came. The victim's boss, on the other hand, was not particularly familiar with Mu Qiqi's identity because he had been in the factory for a long time. Madam, this is the child's resume. The HR manager handed the information to Mu Qiqi. This child's name is Luo Mingxian. He's 20 years old and has just worked in Zhongting for 3 months. He has passed the internship period. 2 days ago, his superior just gave him a report to be promoted. We know all this. I want to know something else. So, Mu Qiqi turned her gaze to Luo Mingxuan's boss. Officer, I'm the technician in charge of Luo Mingxuan's training. My surname is Lin. The man was only in his early 30s. He was mature and steady. His answers were logical and direct. This child graduated from an advanced technical school. Otherwise, according to Zhongting's recruitment standards, he would not be qualified to join. He's an honest person. Other than going to work, he's playing with his computer in the dormitory. His social circle is very small. Most of the time, he goes to and from work with me. He doesn't have any bad habits. He came from a poor family. It was his uncle who helped him out, so he could study. I heard from him that his parents divorced when he was very young and went their separate ways. His grandmother has cerebral palsy, and his grandfather is a gambler. So all these years, he has been working hard to break away from his original family. Other than these, did you notice anything different about him from others, Mr. Lin? Mu Qiqi looked at him very seriously. This was completely different from how Mu Qiqi usually appeared in Zhongting. Hence, the secretary could not take her eyes off Mu Qiqi. It's quite normal. He just doesn't like others touching his computer. I think it's personal privacy, so it's nothing special. He has a day off at the end of every week. Sometimes he goes out, but I don't know who he meets. Is his computer still there? Mu Qiqi asked. The night before his accident, his computer was broken, so he told me that he was going out to fix it. Early the next morning he left and took the computer away. Mr. Lin, please inform his family. If the police have any other questions, we will come and ask them again, Mu Qiqi said to Mr. Lin. Okay, no problem. The other party nodded very cooperatively. If there's nothing else, I'll go back to the factory. With that he stood up. Mu Qiqi caught a glimpse of his hand and furrowed her brow. So before he left the room she asked, Mr. Lin, you must have been working as a technician for many years, right? Yes, it's been 11 years. It's fine. I'll look for you if I need anything. Mu Qiqi did not tell him why she was asking. He waited until they were far away before asking the HR manager. Where did he work before he came to Zhongting? The HR manager thought for a moment and replied, I'm a veteran in the military enterprise. Why do you ask? What kind of technology would require the use of wrist joints? Isn't it strange to have a callous scar on that area? Mu Qiqi looked at her wrist and said. Then, she turned around and asked the cute secretary, Sister, how long have you been a secretary? 8 years. Do you use the computer often? Of course, the secretary replied. Then please raise your hand. The secretary did as she was told, and showed Mu Qiqi the condition of her wrist joints. 8 years of use had only caused a slight callus scar on her wrist joints. How bad would it be to have calluses like Mr. Lin's? Qiqi, what do you suspect? Senior Long asked. I suspect that he's also an old internet addict, Mu Qiqi replied. Of course. I just don't want to miss any information related to Luo Mingxian. The most important thing now is to find Luo Mingxuan's computer. Manager, can you get the video of Luo Mingxian leaving Zhongting's dormitory that day? I want to confirm if Luo Mingxian took his computer out. Yes, madam. Also, I need a list of the employees who have contact with Luo Mingxian. I hope you can prepare it for me. No problem. The manager nodded. This person is gone from Zhongting. You have to be careful of the media. The reason why the criminal investigation team brought me is because it's normal for me to appear in Zhongting. It won't attract attention. You have to do the best PR at all times. Careful. Senior Long could not help but give Mu Qiqi a thumbs up. That's why it's really a waste of talent to let you be a forensic doctor. I just felt relieved, but now I'm worried again, Mu Qiqi said meaningfully. Madam, do you want to see the CEO? He's in his office, the secretary asked attentively. Senior Long, wait for me for 10 minutes. Mu Qiqi had something to say to Sheng Xiao. Go. Mu Qiqi nodded and followed the secretary. The two of them entered Sheng Xiao's office through the special elevator. Are you done? Sheng Xiao looked up and saw Mu Qiqi. Mu Qiqi sat on Sheng Xiao's lap and sighed. I came to ask questions. I thought it was just a routine inquiry. This matter has nothing to do with Zhongting. But now, I don't think it's that simple. What's the problem? The problem lies with Luo Mingxuan's superior, Mr. Lin. When I asked him about things related to Luo Mingxian, his answer was indeed watertight, and there was nothing suspicious about it. However, he did not tell me that he also likes to surf the internet, and that he is addicted to it. This deliberate avoidance makes me feel uncomfortable. I think he knows the inside story. That's why he deliberately avoided it. Sheng Xiao saw Mu Qiqi's serious look and pinched her nose. Forensic Dr. Mu is really observant. Don't worry, Go. I'll arrange the rest of the things you want to do. You know me well. Mu Qiqi reached out and hugged Sheng Xiao. Xiao, Zhongting has just been established. I know your evaluation system is very strict, But don't ignore the impossible just because you are strict. I don't want Zhongting to be humiliated because of this. You little thing. How old are you and you already want to protect me, huh? Chapter 672. Sheng Xiao lowered his head and kissed her lips for a moment. Finally he smiled. Got it. Go. Mu Qiqi left the matter of the Lin family to Sheng Xiao and left Zhongting with Brother Long. It was only then that Sheng Xiao called Su Che out. Go and investigate that Lin man. Report to me immediately if you find anything. Understood. Su Che immediately took action. Sheng Xiao would only feel at ease leaving such matters to Su Che. Madam seems to be worried that Zhongting will be implicated. After Mu Qiqi left, the secretary said to Sheng Xiao, they probably don't want the president to get involved in this mess. Sheng Xiao didn't say anything. He knew what the little one was thinking. She had placed him at the center of her heart. On the other hand, Feng Shanshan brought Tang Yin to find her friend who was good at online games. The other party was currently fighting in the club. From the looks of it, he should have some family background to be able to spend money in such a high-class place. Shanshan, the man thought he was seeing things. I haven't seen you in a long time. Are you here to see me? This is Officer Tang from the Jianchuan branch's Special Investigations team. He's here to ask you something. Feng Shanshan briefly introduced Tang Yin behind her and sat down beside the man. I'm a good citizen. I definitely didn't do anything illegal. Don't be nervous. We just want to know if there are any interesting online games on the market recently. I know you're proficient in foreign news, so I came to find you. Feng Shanshan immediately explained. Oh, then what kind of games do you want to know? As you know, there are many types of games. There are puzzle games, training games, and competitive games. Are there any types of games that require 4 people to form a team and have their characters enter the game or roleplay? Let me think about it. Are there any other details? The man with the crew cut asked. This shouldn't be called an online game, right? 2 people committed suicide, 2 people killed each other. The other party shook his head. Is there such a perverted game? I've never heard of it. It can't be a popular game right now. Otherwise, I would definitely know of it. Feng Shanshan sighed and patted him on the shoulder. All right, thank you. It's fine now. Continue playing. After saying that, Feng Shanshan got up. She thought that she could get something out of this man. But now, it seemed that he had made a wasted trip. But just as they were about to leave, the man stopped her. Wait, Shanshan. I just remembered something. What is it? Recently, there's a new forum called the Dark Abyss. I heard that this forum is very popular and very mysterious. It's said that someone went in before and was scared out. I don't know if there's any information you're looking for, but you can give it a try. All right, I understand. Feng Shanshan remembered this forum called the Dark Abyss. Your new boyfriend, right? Quite handsome, better than the scumbag from before. Before Feng Shanshan left, the man gave Feng Shanshan a thumbs up. Sees it. Feng Shanshan rolled her eyes at him. How could his eyes be so sharp? After that, the 2 of them left. Tang Yin immediately called the information analyst at the bureau and asked him to pay attention to the forum called the Dark Abyss. Are you familiar with this internet addict? Are you asking this as my boyfriend or as Captain Tang? Feng Shanshan deliberately frowned and asked Tang Yin. If it's Captain Tang, aren't you being too nosy? Boyfriend. High school classmate. Are you satisfied? Feng Shanshan raised her eyebrows and asked Tang Yin. Can I treat Captain Tang's behavior as jealousy? Tang Yin did not say anything. He just reached out and opened the door of the SUV. Feng Shanshan followed behind and snickered. She felt a lot more comforted, because she finally felt that she had some place in Tang Yan's heart. At least, if it was in the past, he would not have done such a boring thing and asked such a boring question. Several teams gathered at the bureau in the afternoon, and each of them brought back different information. There shouldn't be any big problems with Zhongting, right? Feng Shanshan asked quickly when she saw Mu Qiqi. It's hard to say. Mu Qiqi thought of Mr. Lin. However, I also feel that it might be because I've gotten used to looking at people with suspicion recently. Everyone looks like a murderer. Maybe I'm just being paranoid. Tell us later, and let everyone analyze it together. Won't we know? What about your side? Do you have any clues? I know about a forum called the Dark Abyss. For the time being, I don't know if it has anything to do with these 2 suicide cases. Muchichi nodded. Everyone sat in the conference room of the bureau. Tang Yin had just come out of the autopsy room and was about to hold a meeting with everyone. However, at this moment, the chief brought a tall female police officer in a police uniform to everyone. I found a helper for you. This is Officer Gao. She specializes in fighting cybercriminals and has a lot of experience, the chief introduced. Tang Yin, you're still in charge of commanding, but you should listen to Officer Gao's opinion. She's an expert in this area. As soon as the chief finished speaking, the tall and slender Officer Gao walked up to Tang Yin and extended her hand. I've heard a lot about you. Welcome. Tang Yin was obviously just being polite. We're preparing for a meeting now. Officer Gao, will you join us? Of course. There are already 8 deaths now. It's just that. I'm a little curious. Why are there so many young girls in your special investigations team? They're forensic assistants. Do assistants have to attend meetings too? I thought they weren't official staff and didn't have the right to speak on the case. After saying that, Officer Gao deliberately looked at Muchichi. Muchichi and Feng Shanshan looked at each other and then got up from the table. You guys go ahead. We'll go to where we should be. Sit down, Tang Yin ordered. I'm still in charge here. Officer Gao's expression was obviously a little ugly. Although she had long heard of Tang Yan's straightforward personality and bad temper, she did not expect him to not give others any face. After all, they were of the same rank. These 2 children are used to following me to the field, so there's no need to send them away. Of course, Captain Tang has the final say here. The other party obviously did not intend to continue to push Tang Yan's buttons. However, Feng Shanshan was already obviously unhappy. This was because a woman's intuition had always been very accurate. This Officer Gao might not only be here for the case, but also for the man. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.